it was told to me by Fred that he had never played BECMI before, the Mincer Basic Redbox D&D. So we had decided that we're going to do a two-part Game Master Roundtable where we do a quick introduction to the BECMI Redbox series. Now, the five of us, or the six of us, are going to go through character creation, and we're going to talk about the system. Some of us are very familiar with it. Some of us are starting to remember a few things. Some of us are so-so, and some of us have no idea what's going on. So when we do get to the character creation part, for those of you that are in the live stream, we would like for you to also create your characters with us. Now, if you look in the description below, there is a link to a website. It is Jasper, and Jasper's blog has a really good form fillable PDF that you can use for BECMI. So if you would like to go to Jasper's website, he also has a comment section. So if you really like that, be sure to leave a comment, say, hey, this is awesome. Thank you very much. But you can go there, you can download that PDF and you can print it out, grab some dice, and you can create characters with us. And in fact, make sure that you leave that in the chat, or if you're watching this in the future and want to pause while you do your die rolls, that would be great too. Just leave a comment. Let us know what type of character that you created. So with all of that in mind, let's get started. Our agenda for today is going to be an introduction to the Redbox Mincer BECMI set. We're going to do some character creation. We're going to review combat. And if we do have some time, maybe we'll run a quick combat encounter. But before we get started, I do want to introduce everyone. And I'm going to let them introduce themselves, their channel, anything that you're working on, and also tell us a little bit about your experience with BECMI or Redbox D&D or just old school D&D. And let's start. Fred, you are first up as far as I'm looking. You are in the yellow square. Fred, take it away.
Okay. So my name is Fred Wheeler. I run the How to RPG channel. I do everything to do with RPGs, which basically means only the stuff that I actually know anything about. Okay, if I don't really know about it, I can't do it. So don't ask me. Don't ask me to build BECMI characters on my channel, because I don't actually know how to do it. I'm trying to learn today. Okay. What I have done is I've run a bunch of adventures in terms of basic. Are we doing this first, or just doing the introductions, Wally?
You can do it first. Yeah.
Do it first.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's be quick. Okay, so I did the Isle of Dread. I've run that. I've run Ravenloft. I've run Beyond the Magic Mirror. I've run Keep on the Borderlands with various systems. I just ported them over to whatever the heck I was playing with. Okay, so I've played those older adventures. I've played Palace of the Silver Princess. I've run that through. I've run these rather than played them. I've played some of them, but I've run most of them. But that's the original one, the naughty one, the one that got taken off the shelves. Apparently, Glenn tells me it's not that naughty, really. And yeah, probably not that naughty, but very entertaining. And then there's a couple of other things that I've run as well that are sort of older school D&D stuff, but I can't remember because it's a live stream and my brain has gone. So I'm done. Next person.
All right. Cool. Awesome. What about you, AJ? AJ's in our blue square. Tell us about yourself.
Hey everybody, my name's AJ Pickett. I run a YouTube channel. I talk about role-playing games, monster ecologies and lore, not so much Dungeons and Dragons specifically anymore. And I'm making adventures now. Also, I make D&D products. I've got a live Kickstarter coming up. It's my second Kickstarter for Silicon gaming mats. This is the second generation gaming mats. I've got one right here just to show you how simple these things are.
That's awesome.
Now in stone grey, parchment yellow, and the traditional creamy white. And that's going live probably later this month, start of next month. And yeah, you'll see. I'll announce it later today. My introduction to Dungeons and Dragons. Well, I started off with Choose Your Own Adventure books. That got me interested in fantasy. And I was in Woolworths in 1984 with my grandmother. And I saw the red box set sitting on the shelf, and I had to have it. And it was $11, big spend back then. And my grandmother picked it up and went, "It's a bit light. It's not heavy enough to be this expensive." And I was like, "Please, please, please." And she bought it for me, and here we are. D&D is now my main job. Well, it is my only job. I don't think I could actually do anything else.
Or would you want to do anything else?
Why would you? Why would you?
Yeah, why would you? Absolutely. In the orange square, we have Dennis, the Okayest DM.
Hey everybody, I run the Okayest DM YouTube channel where I make mistakes running TTRPGs so you don't have to. Or normally that's what I would be doing, but that channel has been very, very quiet lately because I'm working on several other projects. I am constantly producing charity actual plays with other content creators. I am designing my own TTRPG called Sagas. There's a video on my channel about that. That should be coming out in beta test in the next couple months if everything goes well. I'm also working with my fiance to make a murder mystery dinner party game, which has been an absolute blast, and we're playtesting it for the second time, not this weekend, but next weekend. So very excited for that. As far as my experience with older Dungeons and Dragons stuff, the oldest I've ever played is 3.5, with, you know, all of the absolute slew of character options that I got to spend hours and hours and hours and hours and hours looking through. The oldest I've ever looked at, you can actually see a couple live streams on my channel of I got to go through an AD&D book, the Dark Sun Monsters Compendium Volume 2. And I ported a couple of those over to 5th edition. It was an absolute blast. There's so much cool stuff in there. And I'm excited to find out what people mean when they say old school D&D, because right now I don't really know, and I'm really excited to find out.
Yeah, coming from 3rd edition, you are in for one hell of a treat today, my friend. In the red square, we have Mr. Welch.
Okay, I am the battle-scarred Grognard. I pretty much this is my bread and butter. I do the Welcome to Mystara channel, among other things. I have literally covered every single BECMI product as a review there. I got started in '83 playing 1st edition because I needed a thief, and then I switched to BECMI when I was walking through the mall at Corpus Christi, and KB Toys had everything on sale. Yeah, so I got into that one. I started getting the Gazetteer series, which led me to Mystara, which is the greatest D&D setting as determined by science. And I'm literally have every book of BECMI on my shelf right there, but I can't show it. So I had to I'm having to unlearn because I'm having to unlearn because my original one was far beyond the basic scope. But I will pretend when we run the adventure, I will pretend not to have it memorized.
I appreciate that. And Mr. Welch is going to help me where I fail today, and with knowledge on the rules and things like that. So great to have you aboard, definitely. And in the purple square, we have Tabletop Bob.
I'm so glad I get to go after Mr. Welch. That was some introduction. I don't believe you. I got to see the real books behind you. I want to see it. I want to see him.
My name over
after this. Yeah. My name is Bob. I run the live play channel Tabletop Bob. I do a ton of D&D and other RPG content. In fact, we just finished up a 2-year-long weekly campaign of Keep on the Borderlands, which was awesome. But we did it at the 5e conversion, but I kind of feel like I do have an old school vibe to the games that I run. We had our own house rules and things like that. So we did use the 5e system, but modified it quite a bit. I'm running other RPGs. We did Call of Cthulhu recently. We did Shadow Dark. We're doing Star Trek Adventures right now by Modiphius. And coming up this summer, we have a campaign version, my own kind of homebrew twist on Tomb of Horrors. So should be really cool. The system still to be determined, actually. But you can see I got books here, Mr. Welch. Come on. I got my books here right behind me. When it comes to D&D and stuff like that, it all started with Rifts for me, actually. When I was in 7th grade,
I love Rifts.
Kids were playing Rifts, and I wanted to join in, and they actually It was legit 7th grade bullying. They were like, no, no, no. Our group is set. You can't play with us. And I was like, oh, I want to be a glitter boy. And they didn't let me do it. So me and some other friends, they were playing D&D, and I was like, all right, well, let me see what this is all about. I've always been into games, but when it came to my first RPG, it was D&D because again, I couldn't get into a Rifts game. I did eventually end up getting into some Rifts too, but my group, my crew that we went with, we played this same red box actually 23 years ago. However, none of us knew the rules. I mean, we were a bunch of idiots back then, so we just kind of made up stuff as we went. I still have my old character somewhere. It's in some box in the attic, but I'll have to go get that at some point. But this system itself, what I remember it was fun, and it was like our first introduction, and we had a great time. And then right around the next year was when 3.0 came out. So that's what the real first edition that we actually kind of all learned I would say actually learned, and then it went on from there.
Do we need to explain to people what a glitter boy is, or should we just leave them with the mystery?
If you know, you know. Giant robot suit, shiny, big gun.
Massive railgun.
And spikes to shoot out the feet so you can absorb the recoil.
So you can actually, get some traction. Yeah.
I don't know what that is or a rift. I don't know what to do with myself right now.
AJ's got a whole slew of Palladium book videos, so.
That was my first paid gig, man, and getting an article in the Rifter.
Right on. Awesome. And for me, I am Wally DM. I have a YouTube channel that's focused on puzzles and traps. In fact, you're on it. I also wrote an Emmy-nominated best-selling book, The Journal of Puzzle Encounters, and I'm currently working on my second Journal of Puzzle Encounters, along with the Quintessential Guide to Monster Encounters, both hopefully out sometime this year. Yeah, I put right over there. As far as my history with old school Dungeons and Dragons, very much like AJ and Mr. Welch, I pulled the red box off of the counter and asked my dad to buy it for me. And I believe the red box I found in a bookstore, but every box afterwards, the BECMI part of BECMI, I pulled off of a shelf at KB Toys. So, Mr. Welch, you saying KB Toys brought back just a flood of memories. And I can remember just opening the box. I had actually played in a 20-minute adventure from that a friend in school ran for me, just me and him. And I fell in love with the game in that 20 minutes. And that was during our lunch break. The very next day, I went back. He had created me a character sheet, and he told me that he was moving away. So my very first introduction to D&D was 20 minutes. It's just me and him, no dice, just 2 character sheets. The next day I found out he was moving away. And it wasn't until a year later when I found the red box. And immediately I was not leaving the store without it. And I remember
I promised myself I wouldn't cry, Wally. So
I'm sorry, man. And Jason Kinzer, if you are out there, thank you, buddy. I appreciate you getting me into Dungeons and Dragons. I haven't seen you since the 5th grade in the early 80s, but hey, man, hopefully you're out there somewhere.
Jason Kinzer. Was he redhead, curly hair?
No, blonde dude. I was like, holy smokes, man.
That would be insane.
I went to middle school with Jason Kinzer.
Not in Utah, was it? Because it was in Utah.
No, it was in Houston.
Okay.
He wasn't moving to Houston, was he?
For a minute, no, Arkansas.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Whew. For a minute there, I thought Maury Povich was going to join us. Let's introduce you back to your childhood friend. You haven't seen him in 30 years. He introduced you to Dungeons and Dragons. Let's bring on Jason Kinzer. No.
It's just weird that 2 people know somebody with the same name of like that.
That is weird. Holy smokes, man.
That's a unique name.
That is very unique. But I will have to say, opening that red box, bringing out the books, reading through the solo adventure in the beginning of the book. If you have never done that, the red box basic Mincer D&D set is $4.99 PDF on Drive-Thru RPG. Do yourself a favor, go over there, pick up that at the very least, and just start reading it, because the solo adventure, I just can't put it into words. If you've ever heard of the magic user Bargle, you'll know where it's coming from. That adventure is well worth going into. And if you can ever pick up some old school dice and color them in with a white crayon, that's just icing on the cake.
BECMI, I would say, arguably is the only complete version of D&D because it goes all the way from level 1 character up to Immortal.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it kind of stops being the same game at Immortal.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. Strength check to move a moon.
Yeah.
Oh,
Spend 3
dear.
power points to create one.
Oh dear.
Yeah. So, but don't worry, Fred, because we're not going to start off as 36 level trying to become an immortal. We're going to start us all off at first level. So
I'm just thinking about how to deal with that as a game master. Oh, you guys started off as vagabond bums in taverns, getting pissed and killing monsters and taking stuff. I almost said the word. And now you're gods, like moving moons. Okay, it's a different thing.
Gods take a back seat, man.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Gods, what are gods?
yeah. First, got to choose which sphere you're going to go after. Yeah.
So why in the basic game did they decide to make a bagel a villain? Because I don't understand. That's like a pastry. It's like, I mean, I know Dungeons and Dragons, Advanced Dungeons and Dragons is into making really strange monsters.
You've never choked on a bad bagel, have you?
Yeah, I mean, what is the deal with making a bagel? It's like a lunch breakfast food or something like that.
The funny thing is with Bargle, the wizard, he has 6 canon appearances, and they drew him different every time. There's no continuity in his appearance at all. It became a running joke that every time somebody added him, he looks completely different from his previous incarnation. He has a protection from continuity amulet.
Well, you polymorph, you get smacked on the head, you forget what you originally looked like.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I love that. All right. Yeah. So again, get that player's manual, the red box, and enjoy the story of Alina the cleric and Bargle the magic user. And tune in 2 weeks when we will be going to Castle Mistamir. And rumor has it that might be Bargle's hideout. Will we get all the way to where he's at in 2 hours? Or will we go through all 3 of our backup characters before then? Let's find out.
Oh, AJ, we need the sign, the mature audience sign. Can you see the mature audience? So at this point, if you hadn't figured it out, we are definitely. I know I am. I'm going to be very naughty. Yeah, we're gonna be very naughty today. There's going to be some things that you said that are not for children. Okay, so just
Should I find out now?
You're naming your dwarf biggest dickus, aren't you?
Parental advisory warning: mature content to follow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Old
it's certainly
school
mature
D&D.
content.
And that being said, you lucky bastards having game stores when you were growing up that had actual RPG products in them.
Yeah.
To be fair, I lived in a very small town in Utah, and the closest game store, the closest KB Toys, was 3 hours away. So it was
Oh, you
a
poor
rare
baby.
weekend.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
we were lucky to have one container ship of stuff, random RPG stuff, arrive.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, and
it's,
then we had
still that way today.
Yeah, if it was at KB Toys, it was on closeout. They just sent a bunch of books and get rid of them. I bought all those books for $1.
Yeah.
I'm ready, dude. I'm ready. I got my dice.
Are you ready? Okay.
I got my dice.
So I think the best way to do this is let's start with an explanation of ability scores, and then we'll go into the character classes. Now, with ability scores, it's a little bit different when you look at them because if you're familiar with 5th edition, they're organized a little bit differently. So we're going to start with our first change, and that is we're going to put them in order of strength, intelligence, wisdom, dexterity, constitution, and charisma. And for those of you that are on the stream, don't worry, I have that all laid out in the BECMI live stream spreadsheet. So when we do get to character creation, when you start rolling your dice, everyone will be able to see the results that you input into the spreadsheet in real time. So that'll be fun. And they're all there in order for you when we roll. Now, with strength, that is going to affect your attacks. You're going to get very similar to a lot of, there you go. You've got your character sheet there. With strength, it's going to affect your attacks and your damage. Very similar to a lot of today's game. Now, intelligence is going to affect your languages known. So if you have a higher intelligence, you can get additional languages. If you have a very lower intelligence, you're going to have a little bit of problems speaking and reading and things like that. With wisdom, there's not a lot that affects wisdom, but you do get a bonus. You can use your wisdom bonus or ability modifier to help you with saving throws versus magical spells, which could come in handy should Bargle try to charm you, which no spoilers there. Okay, there's a spoiler there.
All right, I'll forget within 2 weeks.
There you go. Dexterity is going to adjust your armor class or give you a bonus or minus to your armor class. If you're rolling separate initiative, it would help you with that, but we're going to discuss group initiative today, so it won't be affecting that. Constitution is like the best stat in my opinion, because you're going to want more hit points, because we're going to roll for hit points, and your Constitution modifier is either going to give you some or it's going to take some away. And then which Fred is probably going to be walking into this with 1 hit point. I can see.
Yeah, that's probably, I was thinking back to my last experience with this sort of thing. Yeah. And then finally you have charisma, and a lot of the times charisma, if you're playing more of a campaign, it would affect what's called reactions, and reactions is how monsters first react to you, whoever is talking to them, but a lot of it also has to do with retainers. So if you're to hire people, and it would include their morale, how good of a leader you are and things like that. Mr. Welch, did I leave out anything?
No, these stats are pretty restrictive. They only go from 1 to 3 or -1 to -3. So you're not going to get the +5, and you have to roll really high to start getting the pluses. The bonuses into these start at 15. You only get the maximum of 18, and it doesn't go higher than 18.
No, yeah, and that's if you're familiar with 5th edition, BECMI does have a wider normal range than I believe 5th edition has. So now that we have our ability scores in mind, and it's coming up soon, we're going to be rolling for our stats, and we're going to go in order. So with that in mind, I want to move on to character classes and just give you a brief introduction. And for those of you can see the screen, I do have a PDF of the player's rulebook pulled up. And the first one that we're going to look at is the cleric. Now, a few things about the cleric is with regards to armor, they can wear any type of armor they want. With regards to weapons, they can only use blunt weapons. Now, there's not a lot of deities in BECMI, but they do have something against religion or something that only allows them to use blunt weapons. They will roll a 6-sided die for hit points, and they do get to cast magic spells, but they only get to cast magic spells from 2nd level and up. So a 1st level cleric does not have magic spells. And one of the main abilities of a cleric is their ability to turn undead. Any questions or anything to add in about our cleric?
You don't need spells when you have faith. Okay.
Yeah.
That's true. That's what George Michael said. Words to live by.
Clerics, the classic cleric is slow, heavily armored, and has a big beaty stick.
Yeah.
So basically a holy warrior.
Yeah, they're the tank.
That got superseded by the arse called the paladin, unfortunately. Correct? That's about right.
And the Cavalier fancy boy.
Where do I put the tacos? Is there a space or a square for tacos and the cleric?
For what did you say? Tacos?
Yeah, tacos. Is it tacos? One of those things.
Yeah, we're gonna get to tacos or taco in a little bit, and that's not even.
It's a different thing. It's not a food. I thought we were dealing with food again.
Mr. Welch, what was that about, cleric?
Oh, I was going to say that at 1st level, they're basically a weaker version of the fighter doing D6, because all the bludgeoning weapons do D6. There's not a lot of weapons in BECMI. Okay, there's only D4s, D6, and D8s. I think there's a D10. Those are only 2 weapons.
Right, and they're 2-handed. Let's go to the fighter next. Now, the fighter is arguably one of the strongest characters, especially in the beginning levels of your Red Box Dungeons and Dragons. They can wear any type of armor. They can use any weapon. So if they want to go armor, shield, and a sword, they can. They want to go a two-handed sword or a polearm, they can do that as well. And a fighter also has a D8 of hit points, so they start off with some of the best hit points in the game. I don't have anything else other than that. A fighter is a fighter. Any additional thought on that one?
There was one thing that you missed out with the ability scores. If you've got a high prime ability score, so each class has got a prime requisite ability score, so like your fighter's your strength. If it's high, you get a bonus to your experience points.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah. So the prime requisites, a great point, AJ. Thanks for catching that. The prime requisites for each of our, I guess I don't know what they would call is it like the basic 4 classes where you have your fighter, cleric, magic user, and your thief. And just like most of your TTRPGs today, the fighter is strength, the cleric is wisdom, the thief is dexterity, and the magic user is intelligence. And those are the prime requisites for those character classes. And like AJ said, if you have a high score, you have a chance of either getting 5% bonus XP or even up to 10% XP.
Yeah, and the demi-human classes also have them, but they tend to have to share. Like the elf is strength and intelligence.
Yes, absolutely.
That's right, folks. If you're a elf, a cleric, or an elf, a hobbit, or a dwarf, that is your character class.
Yes. Yep, that's exactly right. There are 7 character classes in Basic Dungeons and Dragons, and 4 of them are human. And those are your fighter, magic user, thief, and cleric. And 3 of them are demi-human, which we'll get to in a little bit. Dennis and Bob, are you guys hanging in? Are you guys good?
This is entirely new to me, but I think I got it so far.
All right.
Okay. Everything, nothing. The only similarity I see right now is the names of the scores and, in general, what they're for.
Okay.
It's like the same, but different.
Absolutely. So let's move on. And the player's handbook puts all of these charts in between the character classes. You have to flip through several pages before you get to the magic user. So the magic user is arguably the weakest class at first level, and they only get a D4 of hit points. They cannot wear armor, and they can only use a dagger as a weapon. In addition to that, they get 1 first level spell, and they have to memorize that spell from their spell book, and they can cast that once per day. Now, one of the neat things about some of these spells, as far as magic users and clerics are concerned, some of them can be studied. I don't know how it would be in reverse, Mr. Welch. Is that?
Yes. You can cast the reverse version of spells. Like you memorize light, and you can cast it as dark. You can memorize cure light wounds and cast it as cause light wounds.
Yep, absolutely. And those spells that you can cast in reverse, if you have the PDF, are noted with like an asterisk or something.
They're italicized.
Yes. So you don't get any cantrips as a spellcaster. You just have 1 first level spell slot, and you better make that one count.
Oh, and you also have the most amount of experience points to get to second level. You need 2,500. It's not like 3rd edition and beyond. Everybody has a different level to get to the next level. So the cleric or the thief is like 1,200, the cleric is 1,800, the fighter is 2,000, and the wizard is 2,500.
That's bonkers. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
that's insane.
They hated wizards. They hated wizards. It was just like so hard.
As you should. All wizards should be shot, and I love playing wizards.
Fred, we have fiery Fred tonight.
Okay, yeah, I have been very naughty before I came to this live stream, and so I'm carrying on that energy. If you hadn't figured it out,
all right, man, bring the energy.
Do not take me too seriously. Anything that comes out of my mouth is probably just designed to rackle you or make you laugh. And if it's not making you laugh, it may upset you. Just don't flag Wally's channel and try to cancel him. That's
anybody that knows me knows I laugh all the time. And also just want to say to everybody that's here with me on the panel, if you see something in chat please call it out, because I'm focusing more on this. So I do want to take a moment to say hi to everybody. I can see Okayest DM, you're in the chat. Oh wait, you're here too. Never mind.
Yeah, who's this Pickett guy? I can't.
Yeah,
I don't know this
Pickett, thanks for joining us. No, but seriously, Phil, Quick Save, Norok, good to see you guys. Welcome. Dungeons and Chronics, thanks for joining us. Big Kid, welcome to the live stream. And anybody else, thank you very much for joining us tonight. And hopefully you're going to make some characters with us today. But yeah, so if you guys see stuff, call it out.
Sure. We'll do.
Let's see here. One of the other neat things too, before we move on to the thief, is each level of a character class up until you reach 9th level has a specific name. So if for those of you can see the screen, if you are a first level magic user, your title is a medium. So you wouldn't say, hi, I'm Fred, the first level magic user. You would say, hi, I'm Fred, a medium. And why that is, I don't know, but it's unique. And if you're familiar with, if you've been on the D&D Beyond forums, I found it really interesting that you can level up in the D&D Beyond forums and you actually choose some of these old titles from previous editions, which is pretty cool.
In AD&D, like for instance, you can see the origin of the Ranger is Aragorn from Lord of the Rings, because one of the names of the level is Strider.
Yeah.
Which explains why the Rangers only get dual weapon and archery.
Yeah, this also explains why the further they get away from Aragorn as a classic archetype, the worse the Ranger is.
So let's move on. There's something in chat I just kind of want to address. Well, let's finish our character classes here real quick. I'm going to scroll through the magic spells. So if any of you do choose a magic user tonight, I think I've already shared a couple of screenshots of my book as far as the spells go, so we can work on those at a little bit of a later time. So that's going to bring us up to our fourth and final human class, which is the thief. Now, the thief can only wear leather armor and cannot use a shield. However, they can use any type of missile weapon. And when I say missile weapon, that is your bows and slings and crossbows. They cannot use two-handed weapons. They're prohibited by the Thieves Guild, I guess.
And throwing daggers and things like that.
Yes, and throwing daggers and things like that. They also have a D4 of hit dice, so they aren't the best as far as hit points are concerned. But they do have some really cool special abilities. Now, a lot of these you would probably notice is something that on a 5th edition character sheet that everybody would have, but these are specific to the thief, which are abilities like move silently and hide in shadows and pick pockets and climb walls and things of that nature. And you actually get a thief special ability table. Now, if any of you do choose to play a thief, it's really strange to me that in the red box, it was written that the dungeon master would roll for your percentage. So if you can see here on the thieves special ability table, they have for hide in shadows, at first level, you have a 10% chance. So the dungeon master would roll a percentile die, and if they rolled a 10 or lower, then you hide in the shadows with no problem. But if they rolled an 11 or higher, then you're going to be seen. So a very low chance of that. So in this game, if any of you decide to play a thief, we can discuss if you want to roll that, or if you want me to roll it, or so have you.
Since it's on percentiles, you only have a 10% chance. So you don't actually get useful till about right around level 10.
Yeah.
But since you only need 1200 to level up.
You don't know that. Your character doesn't know whether they've been spotted, and maybe the enemies are making out like they haven't seen them. So that's the reason why the DM can roll. So you don't metagame.
And it's not an issue, because when they do get spotted, they're going to die instantly from the fact they've been spotted, because they've got so few hit points, right? So they're never going to know, you know. Am
I correct? They level up quickly, don't they level up quickly? Is that the benefit?
Yes, they level up the fastest up until a certain level, at which point clerics start leveling up faster than they do.
Oh, really? Okay.
What?
Yeah.
Dennis.
Welcome to old school D&D.
Oh yeah, in old school D&D, you can have characters in the same party that are all at different levels from each other.
Yeah. And in fact, a lot of times, if your character died, if you're all 7th level, your character died, you came back to the table with a first level character.
First level.
Can I just stop?
Hello, my name is Nodwick. I'm the professional sack carrier.
I'd like to point out that I had to deal with that when I was playing 3.5, not basic D&D. So I can assure you that was painful back then as well.
Yeah.
Never play a thief or rogue or a fighter or anybody in the front line if you're coming back at level 1 and everybody else is level 7. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a wizard. I can make magic items now. Yeah, but it's going to cost you experience points.
Okay,
What?
keep going, dude. Otherwise, we're never going to get this done.
Yeah.
Okay. Now the thieves also have an ability called backstabbing, and this is pretty much the beginning of like your sneak attacks in more of your 5th edition. I won't go through too much of it, but if you are able to hide and sneak up on like an ogre, you get like a bonus to your hit roll, and you can stab them and do twice your normal damage. Mr. Welch, how do you feel about telling us about the demi-humans?
The demi-human races?
Yeah,
Okay,
so let's start with dwarf.
Dwarf is a lovely race with a smashing beard, and it's basically a tougher fighter with some extra bonuses for like hit. They have the same hit points as fighters. They have they get bonuses to saving throws against magics and spells. They have they're slightly tougher fighters. The downside is all the demi-humans cap out where levels can, where humans get up to level 36, dwarves stop at level 12, and then they stop getting hit points after that, and then it gets weird. So, but they also start like the fighter needs 2,000, the dwarf, I believe, if I remember correctly, needs 2,200. So yeah, dwarves, they have slightly advantages over the fighters, but they also level slightly slower, and they like strength. Then you get to the halfling. The halfling gets bonuses to sneak around, though there's no skills right now. They're basically halfling fighters, and they get they can use all the weapons. They can't use larger weapons, but they get any type of armor, and they get stealth skills. And I forgot what they level up at. Then you get to the elves, and the elves are the ones that everybody wants to play because they're a combination of fighter and magic user. They can wear armor, they get one spell like a wizard, they can use any weapon. They're just better than you because they're elves.
What do I need to roll to be an elf?
Intelligence and strength.
Yeah,
Shame.
And they're immune to
shame.
they get let me see if they're immune to ghoul paralysis. They get some other weird stuff.
Yeah,
the
kind of glitter boy.
like 4,000 to get to level 2.
Yeah.
So
Heck me.
you're gonna be an elf for a while. The thief will be level 3 before you level up once.
Okay,
Yes.
I have some questions. Some of that was useful, but I've just noticed that when I'm writing down my notes, I don't still know what the hell those things are. So,
That's okay. Okay, so a dwarf is a fighter. They can wear any type of armor. They can use a shield, and they can use weapons that are not longbows or two-handed weapons. They have what's called infravision, and infravision is they see in things that are warm, they're going to see in red. Things that are cooler, they're going to see in shades of blue. But they'll even still see like a table will give off just a little bit of a hint. And same with like your undead. So you could, having infravision as a dwarf, you'd still be able to make out like the outline of some undead or things along
Predator
those lines.
vision.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But
yeah,
you might not
exactly.
be able to choose those demi-human character classes because you need to roll the minimum required attributes to be them.
Yes,
Yeah.
to be a dwarf, you have to have a minimum constitution of 9. We can do that. If you want to be a dwarf, I'm sure you can roll 9 or better. And then the final thing about a dwarf is they also are experts of mining, so they have a slightly better chance of detecting like traps and sliding walls and things like that. Now, as Mr. Welch said, the elf is we're playing a one shot, so if you could all be elves, that's what do you call it? Maximizing your character right there, for sure. They get that first level. Yep, they get that first level spell. They can fight. They get a D6 of hit points, so they're a little bit have a chance of rolling a little bit lower than a fighter. They also have infravision. They can see in the dark. They have a better chance of detecting secret doors. As Mr. Welch said, they do have immunity to ghoul paralysis and things along those lines. And I did forget to mention too that
sleep.
dwarves and halflings have better saving throws than any of the other classes.
Yeah.
Actually,
I don't think the elves in BECMI get the sleep. That was a first edition.
Yeah. Just the ghoul paralysis for elves.
Question. The dwarf, what HP does it get? What's the
D8?
It's a D8?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
This
And
game
the
uses
elf is D6.
well, even less than everything else.
To be an elf, you have to have a minimum intelligence score of 9. And then finally, you have your halfling. To be a halfling, minimum score of 9 in dexterity and constitution. The halflings can only use, as Mr. Welch said there, you can only use like the smaller armor and weapons, which is not that big of a deal. So you would use like a dagger or a short sword or a short bow. You would also get a benefit. You could get a bonus to your missile weapons as a halfling. And I think that's it. They hide outdoors, but we're doing a dungeon crawl next in 2 weeks. So that's not going to come into play as much.
I'm telling you right now, if I don't roll enough to be a halfling, I'm taking my bike and I'm going home.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
Very good. Cool. So any questions or thoughts before we dive into character creations? Did I miss anything? Okay, Bob, what you got?
Well, I was just thinking, obviously my first character was, I was given the halfling when I played back in the day. My friends were like, here's your character sheet. And I was like, okay, great. Are we trying to have a variety? Do you want us to have a variety? Like,
it's not going to help.
It's not going to help because we're rolling down the line. So we will have to look at our numbers and decide what is going to work.
You'll get what the dice gods give you.
For the full feeling of old school D&D, you must go, do you like the shiny? You're not getting the shiny. No.
Yes. So my expectations as far as our one-shot adventure goes is first is for you to play whatever your ability scores say that you can play, whatever you want to try as far as BECMI goes. The second is between now and June 8th, I want you to make a backup character because it's very likely that you are going to need that backup character. Now, we can discuss this afterwards, but what I think would be a lot of fun is if we create our character today, and this is who we start our game with as a first level character, but your backup character would be second level, and maybe your triple backup character is third level. And then I want to see who can survive the longest with their first character. Because if you go deeper into the dungeon, the monsters get tougher. And I'm afraid that if we do backup characters that are also first level, that it's going to be like respawning in a fire pit. If you're playing a video game and you respawn and you're just going to die again immediately.
It's the same character sheet. It's just son of, cousin of.
Yes, exactly.
I was actually joking because I was about to say I was going to just go, whatever my character was, and this is, the third, the second, the fourth. Mm-hmm. But of course, we don't need to do that, right? Because I think what you're suggesting is that if we make 4 different characters at different levels, then we can still, if we need to only have a first level character, then we can have Bob the first, Bob the second, Bob the third, Bob the...
Perfect.
Sorry, Bob, I was not picking your name specifically for that.
Robert, Bob,
Bob,
Bobbo,
Bobbo,
Robinold,
Sob,
Bert,
Robbie Dobby.
Yeah, something like that. Okay.
Yeah, so I think that's what we'll do is the characters that we create tonight is who we want to start with. And I want to challenge the 5 of you to see how long that character can last. And then when that character dies, then you'll bring in your second level character, and Lord help us if that character dies, we'll bring in your third level character. But we are going to keep everything within a 2-hour time frame on June 8th. So I just kind of want to see how far we go. And what I have done is no cheaters for you guys, but I have downloaded the Kill Bargle from the Dragon Magazine 150, I believe, from the mid 2000s. Yes. So I have
the last dungeon.
the last one. So that is what I have downloaded to fill dungeon levels 2 and 3. So dungeon level 1 is actually in the Redbox D&D, and then it says, hey, invent your own dungeon on levels 2 and 3. But someone came along and did a Kill Bargle thing in Dungeon Magazine, and I'll be using that going forward. So
Spoiler, he
I think
I have a question. Does combat last about 1/5 of a round before somebody is dead?
No, because at first level everybody sucks, so everybody's gonna be missing, monsters included.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Combat moves pretty quick. So I do have to point out in chat, Mr. Mackey says that Bob is a holy name. That's awesome. Just to let you know, Bob. Some great comments in chat. Thank you, everybody, for participating. Grab your dice. We're going to grab ours. Let's move to build our characters. So the 5 of you should have a 6-sided die at your disposal, and hopefully you have access to the BECMI spreadsheet that I created, because that's what everybody is looking at that is watching this live stream. And I am just going to turn you loose and let you go at your own speed or however fast you want to do this. Roll. Yep. What we're going to do is you're going to roll 6-sided die 3 times. You're going to add that up, and you're going to fill that in order of the spreadsheet: strength, intelligence, wisdom, dexterity, constitution, charisma. Now, there are some parameters. If you really suck as far as your ability scores go, we can do a reroll, but we'll have to see and come to that when we get there.
No, Iron Man it, or Iron Diet,
So-
Iron Diet.
So with that, my friends, let's roll your characters, and I'll start reading. In the meantime, I'm going to start reading some of these comments from chat.
Right, I'm going to switch my camera
see if I'm a
over
fighter.
to my dice.
Yep. So have at it, and put your stats in the spreadsheet so everybody can see them in real time.
Righty-ho.
Dungeons and Chronics. So as far as if you want to make a character, in the description of this video, there is a link to a WordPress site, and there's a character sheet that was created by Jasper, and it is an amazing BECMI character sheet. So if you want to play along with us, grab a 6-sided die, download the character sheet from that website that's in the description of this video, and you can play along with us at home. So join us if you want to see the full rules for this, and I encourage everybody to at least spend the $5. Go to Drive-Thru RPG. There's a link for that in the description below as well, and check out the player's rulebook, because it has an amazing solo adventure that will it changed my life. It changed the life of a lot of people that read through it. So I encourage everybody to give it a chance and take a look.
No, my dexterity is 4. Oh, yeah.
Let's see here. Mark, hey, welcome, Mark. Great to have you. This is my favorite edition of D&D, period. Yes, Mark, this is where my heart's at. I play a lot of 5e, but BECMI is where my heart's at. I played this for 20 years. I love this. It's a great system.
14
Okay.
in Constitution. Yes.
I can't be a halfling. God damn it.
Jasper AK says, while BECMI was my first love, Expert Set was my first RPG purchase. I've since dumped her and started dating her older sister. Don't mind Thanksgiving with both of them. Comment of the day, man. If I could give you a super chat for that comment, I would. That's amazing. That's so good. Yeah, Phil Kearney. Phil brings up a great point. The Larry Elmore art in these books is iconic. They bring up so much. Did you get a trip? What is that, Mr. Welch? I seen that.
15.
15.
663.
Wow,
Ooh, nice.
Well, I've been rolling 10s for most of it.
yes. Wow. But yeah, the Larry Elmore art, it's iconic. It brings back nostalgia for a lot of us that grew up on that stuff. And Larry Elmore still makes his circuit. So if you can get to a convention and chat with him and meet him, it's well worth it. Absolutely.
Oh, I got a story with Larry Elmore. Funny one, too.
When you're done, you're more than welcome to share it.
Oh, I am done. I have rolled the dice gods to determine that I'm playing a dwarf.
All right.
I am playing an elf.
Oh my goodness, that's such a drastic difference from a halfling.
So,
I know.
No, you can still buy art from Larry Elmore, but he's going
Mhm.
to charge you a mint because he's technically retired. We were at a
Yeah.
convention. The guy's like, I got a brand new RPG I'm going to make, and I'm going to hire Larry Elmore for the cover art. You don't want to do that, man. You don't want to do that. Like, we go up to Larry Elmore, and he's just like, "Hey, how much for it? How much for this?" We don't know what he said, but we know it was in the 5-figure range. That guy came back to the table walking funny. He's like, "I got my art.
I
much
can't
it
even
cost
imagine
you?
now.
All of it." Well, he was in a. They cut his name out of the D&D movie poster.
I
They hired
heard
him to
that.
write it, and the Paramount took his name off.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, so and for those of you that are familiar with Larry, I mean, this is my copy of the old player's handbook. There's not much left of it.
Yeah.
But you can see that Larry Elmore art on the cover of the red box with the dragon and the fighter. And I just learned today too from the BECMI Facebook group that fighter is on the cover of all of the books. It's the same fighter.
Mhm.
I never knew that before.
Did you ever watch Eye of the Beholder?
I did not.
I have a question.
I don't know if it's still on Netflix, but if you it's not on Netflix, is it? Wait, Fred.
I have a question.
Yes.
I've rolled my numbers.
Okay.
And I my numbers aren't very good because apparently rolling above a 10 is very difficult for me. So the biggest number I have is a 12 in wisdom and a 14 in constitution, which seems like a good thing. But I'm assuming that I'm playing a cleric because I can't think of anything else to do with this. All the other numbers are pretty low. What would be?
Well, how low?
Well, strength is 9. Intelligence came out as a 7. The wisdom is a 12. Dex is 11. Constitution 14, and the charisma is 7. I think about half of them are. Yeah. So
yeah, you're not going to get many penalties.
No, okay. That's nice. Okay.
Yeah. Those are actually really high.
Are they? Okay.
Yeah, you've got a lot of average rolls.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'm just
I
think
I've rolled the highest of 15.
But it's a cleric. Cleric is like a one spell wonder, isn't it? And
not even a one spell. You don't get a spell till.
Oh, that's right. You don't not to the second level. It's just
you have to prove yourself.
But you can turn undead.
I can turn undead. So
you can turn undead.
There's no undead in this game.
Well, Fred, I'll be happy to let you know that I will be using the Wandering Monsters rule. So I will maybe create my own chart to make sure there's at least one undead if there's not.
So is it called a cleric or a priest? Is it
level 1?
It's cleric.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yep.
Cleric.
Alignment. Fuck.
Fred, do you want me to put your scores in there for you? Or
Sure.
All right. What's your scores?
My score strength is 9.
All
Intelligence
right,
7.
7. Okay.
Wisdom 12.
12. Okay.
Dexterity is 11.
Okay.
Constitution is 14.
14.
Charisma is 7.
Okay.
I am a cleric, I think.
Okay.
My name will be Nutella.
Nutella. I love it. All right. I entered that all for you. So going by the book, as far as creating a character, let's go on to the next step. And for those of you that are playing along with us, if you're playing the home game version of this, let us know what character class you ended up with, and maybe some of your high and low ability scores. Let us know what you rolled.
Okay.
Let's see here. So
I don't know what I should pick here, Wally. I'm kind of perplexed. I got a 7 in strength, 5 in intelligence. Then I did decent, 12, 12, 12 for wisdom, dex, con, and 13 for charisma.
Okay. Yeah, you're in quite the jam there, my friend.
I don't know what this even fits.
So if I were you, I would take a look at either maybe a longer range, someone that would shoot a bow or something like that. Let's see. Let me look at the minimum requirements for a halfling.
Rogue
is a
with a short bow. You want to play a thief with a short bow?
Thief, I'm thinking maybe.
You could play a thief, or you could play a halfling. Would be my recommendations.
Also with a short bow.
Yep. Because you do have the minimum requirements to play a halfling, unlike our friend AJ that came here to play a halfling and is now playing an elf. Oh, look at that. Even as a drawing already. Embracing the elf. I love it. I love it.
His name
Uh,
is Colby.
okay.
Jack.
Okay. All right. So now there. What's the next step after this? Are you going to collect up everybody's ability score or ability scores first, and then we go through the rest of it?
So after choose a class, the next one is going to be a section called exchange ability score. So first we roll our scores, and then second we choose a class. And Bob, that's up to you as far as what class you want to play. If you're to be in melee combat, you would have a negative to your attack roll. So I would definitely recommend something with a ranged weapon. And so you're probably looking at either thief or halfling as your best two choices. But
I'm thinking I might go back to my roots here with halfling.
Okay. All right, halfling it is. So the third part is called exchange ability score points. Now this sounds simple at first, but there's like a bunch of fine print, if you will, at the bottom. So for those of you that have chosen a class, you can increase your prime requisite. So we have two clerics. So that would be wisdom for Fred and Dennis. That would be strength or intelligence for our elf. That would be strength for our dwarf. And that would be, I forgot with the halfling already. But what you can do is you can increase your prime requisite by 1 point by sacrificing 2 points on one of your other scores. Now, here's where the fine print comes in and gets a little wonky. You cannot lower dexterity, constitution, or charisma. But you can increase dexterity. But you can't increase constitution or charisma. Those are off limits.
Oh, Dennis,
Any
do
questions?
you want a paracetamol or an aspirin or something like that? You know, get you some bourbon or whiskey.
Because I'm starting to get into game design myself right now, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just having the hardest time trying to figure out what was going through those guys' heads when they were putting this together.
Well, I think
why is it?
They couldn't afford.
Why is it those that are like you cannot? I'm sure there's reason.
Looks like you're trying to have fun.
It, but
Can't
on
have
the
it.
surface.
Well, I think the problem is too. It's the very beginning, and we've been around for years and exposed to multiple different systems, whether we realize it or not. So yeah, it's
It was probably something that came up in playtest.
yeah.
It's like, okay, I'm just going to reduce my charisma down to 3, and
Glenn,
and
are you
the-
suggesting that they play tested basic D&D and that Wizards of the Coast doesn't do play testing, they just do marketing?
Here we go.
I saw the
mean,
latest wizard class. So yeah, it's like it's not playtesting, it's popularity.
Very good.
Which one of these markets the best?
Is anyone interested in raising their prime requisite score?
Not with my stuff.
Bob.
Yeah, I'm going to have to because I'm looking at it and I need a 13 at least for the +1, right?
I believe so. Yes. So I'm going to scroll down. Oh, actually, you can see that on the screen for those of you viewing at home that you don't get a +1 bonus unless you have a 13 to 15, and 16 to 17 is a +2 bonus. So, Bob, you are able to. Let's see here. What's happening?
Yeah, I think I'm going to lower my wisdom down to 10.
Okay.
Seems good for a halfling to have a little less wisdom, and
Yes.
increase my dex to a 13.
That is perfect. That's the way it works. See, Dennis, it works perfect.
The system is flawless.
Okay.
It's
Truly.
so efficient.
I'm not going to adjust
It's just
anything.
everything I've ever like touched or played has been through so many different ringers. I'm realizing if this is where it started.
Well, this isn't even where it started. There was the game before this, which was original, which was slightly different, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
That
one was kind of a game in progress. It's like, we just realized we don't have any rules for some of this stuff. Well, we'll put it in the next book.
Okay, well, I have another question, Wally. Since I'm not going to adjust anything, what's the next step? Do I need to write down modifiers for strength, intelligence, wisdom?
Yes. So on your character sheet, if you're done with the exchange ability scores, then you can adjust or off to the right. You can put your plus or your minus. Now that is the same for all of them except for intelligence and intelligence and charisma. So if you on the spreadsheet there, If you have a 13 to 15, you get a +1. 16 to 17 is +2, and an 18 is a +3. 9 to 12 is no adjustment.
Okay.
Now, charisma,
Go
I'm not too worried about. It doesn't look like any of you got high enough. For those of you that have 13 or higher, you'll have a +1 on charisma.
Okay, so it's no adjustment is basically a 0 modifier.
Yeah,
that's
0
what it
modifier,
is.
correct.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, so I can do that.
Yes. Any of you with a 13 or higher intelligence can select an additional language.
Pick
I'm trying to
Navajo.
remember.
That's none of us.
Somebody say Navajo.
No.
Mr. Welch, you remember for intelligence score 15? Is that 2 languages or is that just one?
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
So it looks like
the 16 or 17 is +2. That gives you 2 languages, and if somebody max rolled on an 18, it's +3.
Yeah.
Wisdom.
There you go.
Wisdom.
Yeah. So yep. Okay. Cool. Doesn't look like anybody rolled any ability score of 16 or higher.
Nope.
Nice.
15.
All right. So we have our ability scores in place. We have our classes in place. Now the most important die roll of the entire night. You have to roll for hit points.
Yeah.
So the way that this is going to work is our clerics are going to roll a d6, our elf a d6, our dwarf a d8, and what's our halfling? Is that a d6? I forgot.
Yeah.
Halfling is also a d. Yeah, and a halfling is a d6. So roll those and add your Constitution adjustment. AJ, you have a 6 Constitution.
-1.
And then put your hit points in there.
Okay.
Okay, this is.
You guys.
I'm actually scared now. I mean, I feel like I don't know about you, but I feel like the tension of playing the game is actually started before I've actually played the game. I mean, there's actually fear now, like, you know.
Thank God. 5.
What you got there, Bob? Is that a
1.
Is it a 1?
No.
No.
There it is.
I don't know if it's visible, but you can. It's right there. It's a 1.
It's visible.
Okay.
Wow. So you have 2 hit points. Oh my. So I do want to give a shout out to another fellow YouTuber that's not here tonight. What did you roll?
You're at a 6. Oh no, 5. It's got 5. It's 5. It's 5.
Okay. And that is if any of you are familiar with Master the Game Juice. They actually did a year or 2 ago an entire they did what is it, the Borderlands? They did a BECMI playthrough, and they did a very good session 0 where they went through character creation and stuff like that. So for those of you that want some additional content with regards to character creation in BECMI and seeing it played in action in an actual campaign, I would highly suggest checking out Master the Game YouTube channel.
I have a question. So it's your hit points at level, your hit dice at level 1 that you roll, and then you add your Constitution modifier at level 1.
That is correct. So you would have a +1 to that.
So that would be 6 in total, which is wonderful.
Yes.
But if I level up, is it roll the dice again and add Constitution modifier, or is it just the dice roll?
No, you add your Constitution modifier up to level 9, and then you gain just a set base amount of hit points after that, based on your level or your class rather.
Okay.
And it's like 1 or 2. They're really stingy on hit points.
Okay. All right. So it actually stops the formula of the hit dice roll and the Constitution modifier stops at a certain point.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
Once you hit name level, which is level 9, which is something they need to bring back, but they won't.
I don't think I have to worry about level 9.
Yeah.
I have 1
so,
hit point.
I'm so sorry, Bob, but you're don't forget that between now and June 8th, I want you all to create a level 2 character. So now that you know how things are done, you know,
I'll play my Sphinx.
Yeah. But you're going to be a ranged person. I'm hoping maybe a bow and stuff. We'll see.
I'm going to be in the
Don't
back.
worry, we won't let anyone breathe on you.
I need to know what a very weak food is. I need to know what a very fragile food.
What happens if we all wind up hiding behind each other? Then there's like everybody's running to the back to try and
Well,
avoid
Oh, how
That's-
convenient. The whole dungeon is a single file hallway.
That's where we're going to have a marching order.
I'm in the front.
So I know where people are at. So hit points, Fred, you ended up with 6. Is that
Yes,
correct?
I got 6 hit points. Yes.
Okay. And then Mr. Welch, you can enter your hit points when you're ready.
I did. I rolled
And-
a 7 plus 1.
Okay. So you're
I've already
7 plus 1. You're at 8 then. For some reason, yours didn't show up there. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to roll for money. So I need each of you to roll a 3d6. So 6-sided die 3 times and multiply it by 10. And that's going to be your starting gold.
3d6 times 10. Okay. I feel
Are you
like
having
I'm
fun?
behind. I'm behind the this. I feel like is everybody else putting their numbers directly into a spreadsheet that I am not paying
Yes.
attention
Yes, we are.
Yes. I'm putting the numbers into the spreadsheet for you.
I had to
Okay.
save that roll for money.
to. Okay, so I'm going to say now. Oh, I'm going to say right now that I'm obviously spreadsheet illiterate right now because I don't know what
That's
the
fine.
heck's-
I got you, buddy.
Holy
It's
color.
3d6 times 10.
Yes.
I'm wealthy at least.
Let me get everybody maxed out the everybody's rolling great for money, but it not
I
stats.
rolled great for money. 16
Yeah.
for money.
Oh wow, that's good.
I think my name is now very appropriate actually. Caviar. That's going to be my name.
I like the idea. Yeah.
You know, if I was running this all the time, I would I would be like, you roll the 1, redo it. But I really want to go buy the book, so I hope you guys are cool with that.
Oh,
There's probably gonna be
100%.
There's probably I
Absolutely.
want you to get the feel of how they wrote these rules, and so I am like holding myself back, and like reroll, just to let things go as they are. So I am just as like holy shit as you guys are right now.
Listen, Caviar the Halfling hasn't worked a day in his life until he came out with this crew. He's ready
Oh,
to
wow.
rock and roll.
He's not going to get to live very long in his day in his life as it is now. So you don't. Nothing will change.
Bring
So I got a
up.
6, a 5, a 3, which is 14 multiplied by 10 was 140.
140.
Okay.
Okay. So
I've changed my character's name to Salad because I see a theme going.
Okay. This is I would give inspiration to all of your characters, but we don't use inspiration in BECMI. But but the character names are Nutella, Salad, Relish, Toothy Biscuit, and Caviar.
Excellent. I
Awesome.
did have to change my name because it flowed over. It wouldn't fit. I had to change it to
Biscuit sounds great.
I know, but it doesn't
TB.
fit.
The way to defeat Burgle is just to introduce yourselves. He'll die over laughter.
Here, that's
Let
it.
me see if I can make it- let me see if I can make it fit.
It fits.
If it's-
Pronounced
It does.
salad.
Oh, you mean on your character sheet?
Yeah.
All right.
oh my goodness, this is so much fun.
Can I just say that there's a section on this character sheet that's starting to scare me, and it says saving throws. It's got poison, death, ray,
Yes.
magic wand, turn to stone and paralysis,
Yes.
dragon breath. Shit.
Yeah.
What are we supposed to do this?
They're more
So
what you
I-
call
I came into this
guidelines.
I came in knowing one thing, and that is there is an actual thing that is like very common called save or die. It's not save or suck. It is not save for half. It is not save or no damage.
Yes.
It's save or die.
Yes. And again, since this is going to be a one shot, I'm going to run this by the book. If your character drops to 0 hit points or takes 1 point of damage in Bob's case, your character's going to die.
So what do I do with those? Is that the next thing we're supposed to do, or
So I do want you to, speaking of saving throws, I did pull them up on the screen. So I want you to go ahead and fill those in to your character sheets. Clerics down the line, you've got death ray or poison 11, 12, 14, 16, 15. You guys can see those on there. I'll let you fill them in yourselves. But I do want to point out that saving throws are in basic and AD&D. are some of my favorably named saving throws compared to like will saves and reflex saves of 3rd edition and just strength and dexterity saves of 5th edition. In basic, you had as a dungeon master, you can say make a I need you to make a will save, but when you say I need you to make a saving throw versus turn to stone, it's just like, oh shit.
So
it just
I'm confused. Yeah. I'm worried a lot, and I don't mind because I can cope with characters dying. I have harder skin than that. Okay, but how the heck do you get the numbers if I'm playing a cleric? How did you get the saving throw numbers for the cleric for these different things? So I can see that you've listed them on the spreadsheet. But
yes.
Where is that? Where is that information?
It is actually just right from the book.
So are you telling me no matter what level you are, that's what your saving throws are?
That's levels 1 through 3. Once you get to 4th level, then they get better.
Oh,
yeah.
So
when you get
your ability scores have nothing to do with your saving throw.
No.
Only
your character level. And when you get to super high levels, your saving throws are like 3, 4, 3, 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a cleric.
Now, with the one exception, Fred. Now, when you write down your rod, staves, or spells, if you have to make a saving throw against spells, like if someone casts a charm person or a sleep on you, well, I don't think sleep you get a saving throw, but like a charm person, you have to make that saving throw versus spells. You do get to add your wisdom modifier to that. So wisdom modifier affects magic spells, and that's the only ability score.
And so that's the rod, staves, and spells. Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it should
but
be
you only have a 12, so never mind.
To wisdom, yeah. So it's going to be okay. So it's plus wisdom modifier. Anyway. Okay, I see. Which is it doesn't say that in the rule book. I'm actually looking at the rule book now, trying to like.
Yeah, I've got the rule book too. I'm following it here.
And okay, all right.
So since I'm also a cleric, I do have a +1 for wisdom. So my spells are magic staff, rods, saves.
Magic spells, which is a little wonky. Chances are you're not going to ever run into rods or staves as far as that goes, but magic spells you will. So if I have a magic user in there and tell you make a saving throw versus spells, then you would get to use your wisdom modifier, positive or negative.
So.
But write them in as
throws. Yeah, Glenn mentioned that higher level people have saving throws of like 2 and 3. Does that mean saving throws having high saving throws is bad?
Yes, you're trying to roll over, equal or over.
Got it.
I was like, I'm gonna dodge dragon's breath.
Yeah. You've got to be kidding.
So having high ability scores is good, but high saving throws is bad.
Yep.
Correct. Yes.
That was the one. Right. That was the biggest change in 3rd edition was they made everybody roll in the same direction.
Yes.
Because when you start adding skills to the game, then you want to roll low.
Yeah. And when you want in your armor class, you're gonna want that to be low. So they have to roll high to hit your low armor class. This is an introduction. It's my
Yes, yeah, no, I get it. I just want to know where the numbers are because somebody on my channel is going to say, Fred, since you did it on YouTube channel, Wally DM, you build a character, you should be able to show us how to do it. I'm like, oh yeah, right.
I'll be tuning in for that.
But
yes, so what Basic D&D did was the red box is only levels 1 through 3. And in levels 1 through 3, and we're going to get to our hit charts in a little bit, but your 2 hit an armor class or a monster and your saving throws don't change through the red box. They don't change until you get to the blue box.
Okay. And there's also very few spells. I think there's like 8 spells per level that you can actually get.
Yep. Yeah. So they do keep things simple. And then like when the rules cyclopedia came along and they brought along the blue and the green box and stuff like that, things got a little bit more complicated. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to talk for a while. If you guys scroll down the spreadsheet, I just want you to spend your gold. So what you want to focus on is your armor, if you're allowed to wear it. If you have any questions, just shout out. Your weapon, and then any equipment that you would like to have.
Okay.
And so what we're going to do with that is we are using encumbrance rules. So those of you with chainmail or plate mail are going to move slower than those of you with leather armor or no armor. There's also restrictions on two-handed weapons and single weapons. And like I said, if you have any questions, please let me know. So let me look particularly at our newer players with regards to cleric and halfling. The clerics, you're going to see in the weapons table, they're going to have an asterisk by if you can use it, which is like your blunt weapons, your mace, your club, your sling. And then with our halfling, Bob, I believe you can use a short bow. That's probably what you're going to want to look at, and then go from there.
What about a sling?
And a sling does a D4 of damage as opposed to a short bow that'll do a D6.
Okay, all right. So
slings are a weapon primarily wielded by, is it thieves? I don't remember now.
I feel like halflings could.
Clerics, because they count as bludgeoning.
Ah, okay.
There you go. But yeah, if you want to use a sling, you can. That's totally up to you, but you will get more.
Yeah, I'm thinking my guy was rich, so I might go with the fancier weapon, the short bow.
Okay. And you could probably even buy a few silver tipped arrows. Not that they're going to make any difference. but if your guy's rich, I'm just saying.
He's taking it all. He's sparing no expense for his journey into this dungeon.
70, so it's 90, 80.
Well, what page is the equipment on?
The equipment is going to be, if you have
29 for the costs, and for the effects, it's 36.
Oh, good Lord. You tell me in 2 places.
Yeah.
Thanks, TSR.
Yeah.
Thanks, TSR.
29, page 29.
So many people complained about that, I bet, back in the day.
Yeah.
They wrote hate mail.
Yeah. that should be armor, hate mail. What are you wearing? Hate mail? Plate mail? No, hate mail.
Hate mail.
Right. I hate it.
Dear Gary Gygax, how do I meet girls?
No, you gotta address that to Frank Mincer. He's the only one. Never mind.
Right.
The other guys are going.
I'm lost. I'm still lost. Page 29. No, I can't see anything on page 29.
Let's see here.
Wally has the chart on the drive, I think.
Yeah, the chart's on the spreadsheet if you want to look at that. But yeah, page 29 of the Player's Handbook PDF.
29 of the...
yeah, it's right after the fighter.
It's right after the fighter. I'm looking at a document, but maybe it's not the right document.
Might not be the right document.
I got weapons. There we go. Armor. Right, there we go. So...
Yeah. Armor, weapons, equipment. So I
can take plate armor.
Yes. As a cleric, yeah, absolutely.
And
plate
shield.
armor, shield, yeah.
Okay, well, let's keep it simple because this is going to be hard otherwise.
Yeah, but there's only 3 armors to choose from, which makes it nice and easy. So
for 60 gold pieces, plate mail was a steal.
Yeah, very good.
How can you take plate mail at first level? You can actually get plate mail at first level.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't do that in 5e. It's impossible because you never get enough money.
You usually have more than 1 hit point too.
Well, that's true.
A lot of people
say
that
no restrictions on an elf's ability to cast spells.
That's true. Yep, absolutely.
Okay.
I also want to point out that BECMI is very much a game of survival. So if you look at your torches and your flasks of oil, a torch will last for 1 hour, and a flask of oil, I believe, is it 2 hours or 4 hours?
4.
I'm going with flasks and a lantern because that's fancier. So I'm taking the.
Not only is it fancier, Bob, I'm glad you brought that up, but you can actually pull the shutters on your lantern where you cannot with a torch.
Hooded. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm taking that for sure.
So if you take a lantern with oil, and you want to shutter it, maybe especially if you have characters with infravision that want to look around a corner or something, you could do that. Because when we get to the combat section here in a little bit, there is always a chance for a surprise. And if you have torches, you're not going to be able to surprise.
I'm taking a 10-foot pole as well. I don't know how I'm going to carry it, but
awkwardly. That's how you carry a 10-foot pole.
I need a retainer already.
Mace Warhammer. It's got to be one of those, right? Because I can only use bludgeoning things. So what's the deal with a cleric with bludgeoning? Somebody
It's
had
against,
mentioned
it's against their religion.
what, to use anything with a sharp blade. It's only
back in
bludgeoning.
Thank you.
back in the medieval days, the Catholic Church said you clerics weren't allowed to shed blood, but you didn't shed blood if you hit him if you hit him with a club.
Really?
So
I've always found that it was the case when I hit somebody with something hard and blunt. They still bleed.
People with blunt objects.
yeah, I did actually. Martial arts, you get to smack people with stuff. Yeah, accidentally, usually in training. But
Well, spitting blood is different.
right. Okay.
I do want to say, Bob, that you have some fans, by the way. Wolfsbane, don't worry about that. That's for lycanthropes. I don't think there's any lycanthropes. You can buy it if you want.
I have some fans. I got my ceiling fan right here.
Yeah, you also have Jason Farrell's out there. Says, write out last will and testimonies. I'm pulling for you, Bob.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you.
I would like to point out that Bob does live stream games, and for a channel as small as yours, Bob, you pull in a lot of people watching your stuff that's 3 or 4 hours long.
Thank you.
You mess everybody else's concept of live play games up completely.
Bob's live games are amazing. He had me on for one of the Radiant Citadel games, and it was a blast.
That's
really
right.
Myself. So speaking of which, a little bit off subject, Dennis and Bob, I hopefully am releasing our one shot that we did to highlight the quintessential monster encounters. Hopefully that's going to come out Sunday.
Yeah, I remember that. That was.
I'm gonna drop it. Watching through and editing it, it was a lot of fun. We had a lot of laughs. So
yeah,
I'm gonna drop it all at once. I'm gonna Netflix that bitch. It's just gonna go boom. It's all gonna be every episode.
So which page is the information on what the weapons do?
It's next to the weapons.
Actually, not in the book. It's not. That is on a different page.
Yeah, well, that's what I was noticing. I was looking at page 29, and then I was scrolling through, and I got the price of the stuff, but I don't know what they do.
Well, what weapon is it? I'll tell you.
Well, that's not going to help me if I have to learn how to do a couple of other classes or characters. It's not going to help me.
That's true. It's on page 60.
Oh, you've got to be kidding. TSR, you suck. You suck, you.
All right. So those of you that watch Fred's live stream, somebody send him a copy of the Redbox set, because I want to see him do a review on it.
I've already got a copy of it in front of me. I'm not a proper paper copy, so which means I probably won't be doing it, because you know how I feel about if it ain't the real deal, it ain't a piece of paper, and I have to look on it. It ain't going to happen.
And the index is on the other book.
Oh, there it is. Damage.
Yeah.
Bingo. Also, a mace and a warhammer does exactly the same thing.
Yes. It does, and the Warhammer's two-handed, so you can't use a shield.
Oh, holy Toledo! Hang on, what's the deal here? Does that mean I can't shoot arrows or bolts? Because
nope, got to use a sling.
I have to use a sling.
Yes.
That's what I'm doing. I'm going sling.
I'm taking a sling, because I don't think I'm going to be able to get up close without things going really bad.
Get those D4s heated up.
Wally, how many magic items do we start with?
Oh, that's the fun part. You have to find them along the way.
I wasn't going to ask that question because I knew what the answer was going to be. So.
Yeah, but if you can survive long enough, you get a lot of magic items. There is no. It's like, okay, you get 3 really good magic items, and that's it. No, you will be throwing away magic items in BECMI.
Yeah.
Oh, look, it's another sword +1. I think I'll give it to my other daughter.
Yeah. Yeah, we had guys that collected swords, like sword +1 flings on command was a popular one. The Cure Light Wound Sword, they would collect the heck out of those because they could get a charge out of all. They just bring the sword just for the Cure Light Wound spell that was on it. And so with BECMI and a lot of the older editions, your character was more like with 5th edition. Your character, your theme for your character, whatever else is built through your subclasses and stuff. But in BECMI, classes stayed your characters were the same, but they kind of took on their personality through their magic items that they had.
Yeah, and as you go from basic to expert to companion, each one adds a level of complexity to the game.
Mm-hmm.
And once you start getting into weapon mastery rules, and you start getting into they start adding more weapons as you level up, and the master level weapons kind of blow away with the first edition. Master level for BECMI was actually more complicated than first edition. And let's not get started on the Crucibles and the Gazetteer editions, because I was originally going to play a Sphinx, and just to complicate things, make him a werebear.
Yeah, and I have no idea about any of that stuff. I never bought any of the extensions. I just bought the 5 box sets, and that was it.
Oh no, the Creature Crucibles, because races are classes. Every one of them adds about 12 new races, and some of them good, some of them awful. If you want one of the best ones, you want to get Tall Tales of the Wee Folk. That one was fantastic, though it gave you the Treant as a playable race.
Holy smokes!
Okay,
not exactly easy to take into a dungeon, or the Centaur.
I think out of the core box sets, I think out of the BECMI, I think Companion was probably my favorite. Because that's and Fred, you would probably like that one the most, because that's where they established strongholds, and they had one of the best war machines in there. If you wanted to run mass combat, the mass combat and the green box, the Companion set, is one of the best I've ever seen.
Okay. Yeah, it's actually system neutral, so you can use it for 5th edition easily.
Yeah. And I don't know how you played, Mr. Welch, but we did. I mean, since most of mine was homebrew, I mean, we had barons and counts and viscounts and marquises, and
we had whoever showed up at Adrian's house when we got out of school. First 6 got to play, because Adrian lived in the middle of the neighborhood, and he was bike riding distance from all of our players. And we didn't know who had school. We didn't know who had to, who was grounded, who had yard work. Since I was the only one with the box set, I was automatically the DM.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
Abilities.
Yes.
On the official character sheet, it says adjustment. Was that like the adjustment I did to increase my dexterity, or is that like the modifier?
Modifier.
Okay.
The plus,
modifier,
plus 2,
yes.
the plus 3.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I do want to just touch on skills real quick. So like if you want to do something, like if you want to try to shove a door, something like with strength, or things along that line, I don't really like to step on the thieves abilities that much, but other abilities, whether they be intelligence based or wisdom based or something like that, you would actually roll against your score. So like if you want to try to break down a door and you have a strength of 14, then I would allow you to do a strength check with a plus or minus modifier, depending on what type of door it was. And then you would have to roll under your ability score, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So they didn't have like athletics or acrobats or stuff like that. It was just you used your ability scores.
They added skills later, but they didn't make them official until they compiled into the cyclopedia. They added the skills first with the first of the Gazetteer series, and their skill system is one of the best in all of the D&D.
Yeah.
Though a lot of people don't like it because it's rolled under.
I have a question. How punishing is an encumbrance? Because I would just go buy a whole lot of equipment that I think might be useful, but like how punishing is it going to be?
Yeah, so past the red box, you would dive more into encumbrance. But for our game, it's going to depend on your armor and how many coins you carry. So if you have leather armor or chainmail, or leather armor or no armor, you're going to be at 1 movement speed. And if you have chainmail or plate mail, you're going to be at another movement speed. And the only way that you move up to the next level is if you have 100 coins or more. Now,
so where's the thing on the character sheet that shows how fast you move then?
Oh, we're gonna get to that one as soon as
Okay.
everybody's got their equipment. I'm gonna tell you that you can't move. I mean, I'm gonna tell you how
Can't move
slow
anywhere.
Everybody moves 12 except for the dwarf who moves 10.
Yeah, yeah,
Just about.
So, yeah, so encumbrance is actually very important to BECMI in regards to that's how you get your movement speed.
Okay,
I think
so the idea is
Good.
probably not load yourself up with too much stuff since you're not going to be very strong.
For this one shot, and if you're just using the red box rules, it says your armor plus standard equipment that you carry, so you're fine.
Yeah.
But if you come across 200 gold pieces and they say, hey, Nutella, you're carrying all the gold, and you just take on 200 gold pieces, then you're going to be slowed down.
So what's that? So would you you able to get around that by just I'll go buy myself a mule because I don't see a price for a mule anywhere. So
Yeah, we won't worry about mules for a one shot.
okay,
But, I mean,
no. That's just curious.
Yeah. Portable holes, bag of holdings, that would help as well. I always tease in a lot of my games by putting a lot of copper pieces in because they're going to weigh you down and not worth as much. Gems and jewels in BECMI is where it's at because you can pick up a gem that's not very heavy, but it's worth a lot of gold. So that's where the real treasure is found.
See, once we get all this done, you got to run a creature crucible game. That's when you can play all the weird stuff.
No, that would just Wally would freak out, and I'm struggling enough as it is.
I would play in your game as a player, but I don't think I could do that as
because then you get stuff like the Puka, which is like the animal fae, but he's got the ability selective invisibility. He can choose who can see him and who can't.
Yeah,
that's fun.
There is so much great stuff going on in chat. My apologies if I missed anything that is epic.
That's right. I forgot we were live.
Holy shit! Yeah, like
your head's just swimming with all of this stuff. You're just like, I thought it was just going to be easy, man. Yeah.
I'm all set. I bought a ton of
you
stuff.
good?
I'm going to be encumbered.
I have a single coin left.
Yeah,
awesome. Yeah, let me know when everybody's done with equipment and we will move on to the next step. And in fact, I'm going to pull up, if you want to scroll down on that spreadsheet and fill in your movement, you can see the encumbrance. So encumbrance in basic is in coins, which is abbreviated CN. So they figure that a coin is worth like 1/10 or 1/16 of a pound.
Yeah,
kind of like
10
that.
coins is 1 pound.
Yeah. So encumbrance is measured by CN. So if you have leather armor or no armor, then your movement speed is going to be 120 feet per turn. Now, a turn is 10 minutes. A round is 10 seconds. Rounds are used in combat. Turns are used elsewhere. We won't be dealing a lot with turns because that always confused me. But your movement speed would be 120 feet per turn. And in combat, you would have a 40 feet per round. So in combat, if you want to move up to get something, it's 30 feet away. You have 40 feet. You can definitely move up to there. For those of you that pick chainmail and plate mail, you're going to start with 60, 20, and 60. I think. No, wait, no, I'm sorry.
What does 60, 20, 60 mean?
My apologies. If you're wearing metal armor, which is plain mail or chainmail, you're going to have a 90 foot per turn movement speed. That's out of combat. In combat, you're going to have 30 feet. That's the one we're going to focus on. You'll be able to move 30 feet in combat.
So where do I stick that in the character sheet?
On the very bottom, I believe there's movement.
Oh, okay. Movement. Oh, armor load, equipment load, experience points.
Yeah.
Needed
so unless you're carrying 100 coins with you, those of you with metal armor, I'm going to put you at 700 CN. And if you are wearing leather armor or no armor, I'm going to put you at 300 CN. So if at any time you guys carry 100 coins or more, your encumbrance is going to go up.
Okay. So I don't see... Oh, I see encumbrance and movement. So which box do I stick the 30 in? Is it the bottom box?
Yeah, whichever one you want.
Whichever one I want.
Yeah, I don't... Let me look.
You don't understand what it is either? Because I don't understand it.
Oh, let's see here. Encumbrance, armor load, equipment load. Yeah, I don't really know what that means, sir.
I'm just putting in the big box below.
They're basically saying just so you can put your armor, your shield and your armor for the armor load, and then everything else for the equipment load.
All
Because
right.
you can drop your equipment.
Oh,
You can't
okay.
drop.
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
All right. So the armor load would be 30. Is that what we're saying?
Just put in the big box 30. That'll
30.
be your combat movement speed. Yes.
All right. And so armor load and experience load. Screw that.
Yeah. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about for the halfling? For the excuse me, halfling. Is there anything with the halfling for movement?
It just goes on the armor. So if
Okay,
you're
my
wearing
armor's
metal,
leather.
if you're leather armor, you have a 40-foot movement speed in combat. Now I guess I should also say that you, for those of you with a 40-foot, you have a 120-foot if you're trying to run away. And for the 30 feet, you have 90 foot if you're trying to run away.
Okay. So I should write down 30 feet combat
and 90 feet
run.
evasion. Yeah, run for your life.
Flee. Flee is 90 feet.
Get out.
All right. Okay.
All right. Let's see. Roll for money, buy equipment. Figure out our armor class. So for armor class, we have a chart on there. If you are wearing a leather armor, your armor class is 7 to start. Chainmail, armor class is 5. Plate mail, your armor class is 3. To adjust those, to adjust those, if you have a shield, that's -1. Again, in BECMI, your armor class, the lower you get is the better. You start with 9.
Yeah.
So if you're not wearing armor, you have a 9.
And nobody has a high dexterity, so don't worry about that.
Yeah. If you had a
I have a 13. Is that not
Bob has a 13. That does help you.
Yes. Oh, Bob has 13. Okay.
Yep. So you subtract 1 from your armor class. You have leather armor, is that correct?
Oh, so it starts at 6 then?
Yep. So you have an armor class of 6 if you don't have a shield. And if you're using a bow, then you won't be able to use the shield.
It also says that as a halfling, so if something's bigger than man size, I would get even better bonuses, right? So I'd be like
yes.
4 against like a giant or something, or a ogre.
Yes. Yeah. As a halfling, you definitely get bonuses with your weapons. And I think your armor class too, right? Is that what
hit rolls with missiles, and then armor class is -2 for larger than man size creatures.
Yeah. So if an ogre was attacking you, you would actually have an armor class of 4 against the ogre.
4. Yeah.
So
okay, cool.
Where do I find the numbers for the armor class stuff? So I get it that plate mail is a 3 and -2 for having a shield, which becomes a armor class of 1. But where do I find that information?
That's on page 50.
50. Okay.
Having a shield is -2 or -1?
-1.
Oh, is it -1?
Yeah, just 1.
Okay.
All right. So
so
I'm the same as you, Fred. Plate mail and a shield. So 3 AC from the plate mail, -1 from the shield is 2.
Armor class 2, correct. And I did get called out in the chat. I appreciate that. Jasper says, no mules, not a real BECMI game. If you want to rent a mule, you're more than welcome to. All right, we're a real BECMI game now. Thanks, Jasper. I appreciate that, man.
Okay. Right, I'm done.
How much?
All right.
Are there any adjustments with the armor for dexterity?
There is. You have to have a 13 or higher,
Yep.
or an 8 or less.
Okay. Okay, I see
you
it's
have
on
an
that. It's
11,
on the
so
same
you're good.
page. It's on page 50. I can see it there. Okay, so that's helpful to know when my subscribers decide to hassle me and say, "Fred, it's time for you to make a character." I'm like, yeah, thanks. Okay, all right, I appreciate that.
Yep. Oh yeah. I feel like I'm going too fast, so slow me down.
No. It's fine. I'm all right so far.
Yeah.
I think the only thing we got to do left is Baco.
Yeah.
Tacos.
Yeah, if you guys are ready, I would like to talk about the hit roll chart. So for those of you watching the live stream, you can see all of our faces. And to the right of that is the spreadsheet where we're putting everything in. But above that is what is called a hit roll chart. Now in combat, what you're going to do if you are in melee combat or if you're using your short bow, you're going to roll a 20-sided die to hit. If you're using a ranged weapon, like I believe Caviar will probably be doing, then you would adjust for dexterity. And if you are in melee combat with your club or mace or what have you, you would adjust for strength. And you add that. So if you roll 14, you add 1 or what have you, and you roll a 15. Now we don't use Thaco, but I'll explain it in just a second. So everybody's hit roll chart is going to be the same. So, and on your character sheet, you can see the hit roll chart. And all I want you to do is where it says armor class 0, I want you to write a 19.
19.
Yep. And then I just want you to count down from there. So start at 19 at 0, and then go to your left and type 18, 17, 16, 15, 14.
Okay, so now I'm going to ask that question. You know, I'm going to ask this question.
Yeah.
How do I get those numbers? Because I don't.
Page 51.
51.
Yep. Page 51. Yep.
Yeah.
For levels 1 through 3, everybody's hit roll chart is the same. And then
okay. All right. So
once you move into the blue book, they get better.
All right.
Oh,
so you can have an armor class of -1.
Yeah, you can have an armor class of negative whatever if you find magical armor. You can find a plate mail +3. It's actually a -3, but
+5.
Yeah.
+3.
Yeah.
Plate mail +5. Shield +5. Ring of protection +5. Oh yeah, you can. That'll put you at -5 even before you add the armor.
Yeah.
So right now I have, this is to hit me, right? So like I had a AC of 6, so that means enemies need a 13 to hit me.
No, that's for you guys. I have my own sheet for the monsters. For the monsters, they have their own hit roll chart, and for the monsters, it goes off of hit dice. So you're familiar with hit dice with 5e. You can have a 2 hit dice monster, 3 hit dice monster, 3 + 1, whatnot. And my hit roll charts will be like up to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, and so on. And I have different charts than you do. So I do want to introduce Thaco. I never used Thaco. It was I never learned about it until like years later. So we've always used hit roll charts. But for those of you that really want to know about it, here it goes. So
I put my fingers in my ears.
Okay, definitely do that. So looking at your hit roll chart, you have a 19 to hit armor class 0. Everybody's Thaco is 19. If you are fighting a monster with an armor class of 5, 19 minus 5 is 14. That's what you need to hit the monster. That's how you figure out with Thaco. It's your 2-hit armor class 0 minus their armor class. If they have an armor class of -2, you would add 2. So you, instead of 19, you need a 21.
I am a fan of figuring out what you need, what number you have to roll on the die before you roll it, instead of rolling it and then adding stuff. I feel like as a game, it's intense. Everyone knows immediately once the die rolls whether it's a success or a failure. So we'll see how the infamous Thaco really works soon.
Yeah.
I don't like tacos. I've never been a fan of tacos. Mexican food's just not for me. Okay.
Yeah. I will not be using Thaco. What's going to happen is you're going to roll your die to hit with your adjustments. So if you've got a bow and you roll 14 and you add your dexterity modifier +1, you roll 15. You're going to look at your chart and you're going to say, I hit armor class 4. And I will compare that to the monster. And if you hit the monster, I will let you know and you roll damage. That's it.
So there's nothing beyond. So if I roll anything under a 10, it just doesn't hit.
It doesn't hit. No.
Got it.
All right. So let me just reflect this so I get this straight. I've got the table with the armor class along the top. I've put in the numbers for the 2-hit roll needed. And when I need to do an attack, I add for a strength attack the strength adjustment, which is a modifier. In this case, for me, it's 0.
Yep.
No other thing applies. There's no base attack bonuses or anything like that. It's just that.
No,
okay.
just that.
if I'm making a ranged attack with like a sling or a bow
Mhm.
or whatever, then I would be adding the Constitution modifier or adjustment.
Dexterity.
Dexterity. The dexterity modifier or adjustment, which is okay, and I
Mm-hmm.
add that to the 2 hit roll to my dice roll, and that gives me a number, right? Okay, so now let me just get this in my head, because right now it is actually because it's so alien to me, and for whatever reason, let's just put it down to just retard. I have really struggled with this concept. So I take a 20-sided dice roll, and I take my modifier, whatever the heck it is. In this case, it's a 0. So I've got nothing there. Maybe if I had a 1, I'd have a 1, but I don't. I roll a dice, I add those 2 numbers together, 0 and 19. So I get a 19. So that means if I rolled a 19, the best that I can hit on a 19 is armor class 0.
Yes. So you would tell me I hit armor. I rolled a 19. I hit armor class 0. Or just
Okay.
I hit armor class 0. So if I were to run, let's pick a monster. So if I were to run, let's say a werewolf. And a werewolf has, oh no, because they have weird. Let's say lizard man. And a lizard man has an armor class of 5. So you would hit you would say I hit armor class 0, and I would say you hit, because I'm comparing that to the armor class 5 of the lizard man.
Okay. All right. Okay. I think I've got it. I'll probably forget, but I think I've got it.
Now, not to confuse you, but those of you that are using strength for your weapons will also add that to damage. Those of you that are using dexterity will not add that to your damage.
Oh, okay. So only melee attacks add the strength adjustment or modifier.
Correct.
And not
I
dexterity.
think that's correct. Mr. Welch, does that sound right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they didn't start adding dexterity to damage until 3rd.
Do you know, that actually makes far more sense, because what are you going to do? You're gonna ping somebody with your bow, or your crossbow's already loaded up and fixed in terms of what it can do. It's got a set pullback, right? And a sling, what are you going to do? You're going to strength is actually going to change anything, since all you're doing is swinging it around in a circle real fast. So it kind of makes sense. I get it.
Back in 3.5 or 3.0, both maybe you could add it to the composite bow, your strength. So it was kind of like, because you have to be able to get to that level, I guess. But
right. Okay.
Yeah.
I do see what you mean, though.
I do want to say a big thanks real quick to Steve Zirk. Steve, thank you for gifting the memberships, man. I really appreciate that. Thanks for all your support. I've played in a few games with Steve. Great guy. Thank you very much, buddy. I appreciate it. And good to see everybody get those memberships. Thank you very much. I also want to point out another comment that just made me laugh. Norak, this is awesome. Norak says, what kind of drugs were used in the creation of this? It's unnecessarily complicated.
So to give you an idea, it's not like I'm completely new to the idea of a hit table, because I had to play Warhammer 40,000. And Warhammer 40,000 is a tabletop war game. That's a real war game, right? Where you're actually measuring with measuring tape, none of these squares and none of this feet business. But we had tables, like, you had your ballistic skill or your weapon skill, and then you had your armor, and then you had the table. So I understand that. This feels like it's a little more crap. Just a little more crap. Okay, because I remember having to remember the hit tables for Warhammer 40,000. Eventually you do remember them. If you have no life and you're playing it all the time, but but this does seem just a tiny bit more difficult than that.
You get used to it. I've played Phoenix Command, and that'll that's the unholy trinity of RPGs.
I played BattleTech.
We don't let NAS.
I played BattleTech.
Yeah. No, you do. You have to Phoenix Command, in order to see if you hit somebody, you got to roll on 7 charts. They have what 72. What's 72 times 3? That's the number of hit locations they have in the advanced rules, depending on if you're forward, if you're shooting a front, back, or oblique.
Okay. So
BattleTech is like, I'd like to move. How many heat sinks have you got? Hang on a minute. Let me grab my slide rule.
Yeah.
So is everything filled out on our character sheet then?
Because
there's things on the second sheet has things like, there's spell selection, but I see cleric turning and I see thief abilities.
So for the cleric turning, that's something that we can do off stream. That's something that you can fill in from your sheet that you have.
Yeah.
That's on a page.
It's on a page.
Yeah.
This is the thing that you sent us, the document, right?
I don't think I put cleric turning in there. Let me just pull it up
Yeah.
on here.
Well, is there a page number in the BECMI rules that I could look to?
Yeah, almost there. So you will want to go to page 25.
It makes perfect sense. 25.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So that is part of the character, the class. So you're going to have, oh my, those are terrible. For both of you clerics, for a skeleton, it's going to be a 7, a zombie a 9, a ghoul an 11. And what that is you'll roll a 2d6. And if you roll that number, is it that number or less or that number higher? Help me out, Mr. Welch.
That number are higher. That's why the ghoul's an 11.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
That number or higher, you turn so many hit dice of that monster. So skeletons is your best bet.
Does the right having the N beside it mean not applicable? You can't actually affect
Correct.
a right.
Right.
Yes.
White.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Yep. Yeah. As first level clerics, you cannot affect a white. No.
You don't want to face a white at first level because they're level drain.
You will
And this is old school level drain. Lose a level.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, I've lost levels in previous games. I think 3.5 had plenty of that. So that means white, wraith, mummy, spectre, vampire, all not applicable. Run like a chicken, you scared little monkey. Okay.
See one of those at basic. They're actually not even in the basic books. The higher level stuff, you don't get that until expert or beyond.
Yeah.
What's the deal with the thief abilities? I mean, I'm not building a thief, but I'm kind of curious. Is when you're filling in these thief, open lock, remove traps,
You just straight off of a chart.
Yep. It's straight off a chart. You've got a percentage, usually very low. So like looking on that, that's going to be on page 44 for you. A first level thief has a 15% chance of opening a lock. You just roll a percentile die, and if it's 15 or lower, then you open the lock. And it says that the DM rolls that, but I would say that some of these I would like the player to roll, and some of them I would probably roll, like hide in shadows. I would probably roll that and be like, hey, I want to hide in shadows. Okay. Okay. And then I would roll and see if they successfully do that.
Yeah, the thief's going to know whether he picked that lock or not.
Yeah.
Oh, so which page was that?
That is page 44 for the thief.
44.
Yeah.
All right, for the thief.
Yeah. I do want to say, so TJ has a question in the chat. Do the clerics know they don't get spells till level 2? Yes. So,
Where
yeah.
painfully so.
Yeah, so our two clerics, I'm gonna have to include a skeleton or two in there somewhere, probably, just so we can showcase the cleric.
My level 1 spell is Read Magic.
Read Magic, really? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you choose that out of curiosity?
Because my normal go-to, you'd think Magic Missile or something like that, but Sleep. Sleep's okay. But if it doesn't work, it doesn't. The utility. Actually, Protection from Evil is one of the best, because if you get chased by an enchanted creature, they can't touch you unless you attack first.
Mm-hmm.
If you need magical weapons to hit them, they can't even touch you if you've got that spell going on.
Yeah,
which is pretty powerful.
I think spells were a lot more powerful in Basic than they are in 5th edition.
One thing I have got, which is better than a spell, is a Silver Dagger.
Nice, very good.
Yeah, sleep knocks out 2D. Was it 2D8 hit dice for the creatures? It's an auto win for low level.
Yeah. Sleep is a very powerful spell, and Magic Missile always hits. And, all good stuff.
But don't assume basically you can read a scroll or a magical enchantment or something like that unless you have the read magic thing. And being an elf, it makes sense as a character to have, because I'm a role player. So
very good.
I see down the bottom of that character sheet, it says experience points. Obviously, we have 0 experience points.
You have 0.
Bonus penalty, bonus penalty percentage, and then needed for next level. Now, I'm assuming there's a table for the cleric and the various classes that shows you what you need for the next level. How do you figure out the bonus penalty thing?
That's your attribute scores.
Yeah.
So
that's your prime requisite. Do you have a wisdom of 15 or higher?
No, I don't.
Okay, then you have none.
So you're asking for your live stream there. I'm trying to remember where that chart is at. So you can either have a 5% bonus to XP or a 10%. And I will have to find what page that chart's on.
Okay.
So
all of this is in various different places. Interesting.
Yeah.
It's like a maze.
It is. It's like a puzzle book. Maybe that's why I love it so much.
It's on page 23, right at the start of the characters section.
Yeah.
There you go.
Frank wanted to make sure you were paying attention to play his game.
Yeah. So if you have,
it's actually designed to read from start to finish, essentially. Crazy as it sounds.
Oh, hang on. So on page 23, that adjustment there, primary requisite adjustment table. Is this adjustment table apply to not just experience points? Does that apply to other adjustment things as well?
No. So as a cleric, this just applies to your wisdom score, and you just look at your wisdom score in there because that's your prime requisite. So if your wisdom's at 15, you get a plus 5%. If it's an 8, you get a minus 10. And if you're a fighter, you're comparing your strength to that. Yep.
And if you have like a 6 to 8, or you got a minus 10, and if you got a 3 to 5, you get a minus 20. And just shoot me now.
So you can't even level up very well because you get this many experience points and you have to subtract for that because your prime requisite's so low. So one of the cool things about BECMI, and this might be the way with AD&D as well, is you actually get experience points for gold. So whatever treasure you find, that gold value when you're done with your session or that adventure, that is tallied in experience points. So finding treasure is more important than defeating monsters.
That's why you would end up finding thousands of gold pieces in low-level adventures.
Mm-hmm.
That's also why you capture monsters and then ransom them back to their tribe for a bounty.
Wait, hang on. So is it finding the gold or is it leaving the dungeon with it? Because gold has some serious encumbrance stuff.
Good point.
I thought wasn't it?
That's why you have backup characters who are carrying it for you.
Yes.
No, it specifically tells you to hire retainers in multiple adventures. And it says if you're running Keep on the Borderlands, you want to start with those. A lot of these modules are designed for 8 players because you're going to need, bodies.
We're gonna need 6 Sherpas on this journey up the mountain.
Yeah.
How much does a Sherpa cost?
That's on one of the charts.
I will say
there's
this
so
one
many
shot.
charts. I am so lost. It's like it reminds.
It's the whole book's charts.
Oh my god,
It really is.
They're everywhere.
Listen, the halfling has been a dream to create.
Yeah.
Come on, doggo. Ichi, come on.
I will say that I forgot what I was going to say, so I guess I won't say it. I do want to be mindful of everybody's time. I would like to go through combat, but we are closing in on the 2-hour mark. If you guys want to end this here, we can pick up again. Otherwise, I would like to spend 10 to 15 minutes to go over what combat would look like. If you guys have time, but if you don't, then that's fine as well.
I reckon we just do it in the one shot, dude. I reckon we just do it in the one shot. It's going to be far more entertaining. There's been so much to take on board, and this is all completely new to me. Certainly, it's been helpful.
Yes, absolutely.
Because I can assure you, I would never be able to figure out this stuff. I'm 51. I would not be able to play this game without help. It just wouldn't happen.
Once you master this, we can move on to the weird stuff.
So bad.
This isn't weird yet.
I think I've already got a weird. Somebody sent me something that's supposed to be weird. This is a package that somebody sent to me. It's actually at my door like about an hour or 2 hours ago. I haven't actually opened it up.
Oh, be careful.
Anthrax. I'll open it now, shall I? Let's see what's inside.
Only if the Anthrax still has Joey as the lead singer.
Hey, I mean, it can't be bad because it's from Essex. It's from Essex. Waldo?
Nothing ever bad comes from Essex, right?
I mean, is that a bad place?
Apart from their accent.
Essex. What's the role? What's Essex has got a... Oh, shit. Oh, it's Morkborg. Somebody sent me
Morkborg, huh?
Free League.
Morkborg has death,
Our friends at Free
death
League.
metal D&D.
I have a very funny story about Morkborg. So my Journal of Puzzle Encounters was nominated for an Innie in 2020. And in both of the two categories I was nominated for, I kept going up against Morkborg. I'm like, what the fuck is this Morkborg? It won both
Or
times.
the role-playing game.
Free League just cleans up at the Ennies every year because they are so damn good. Those gorgeous Swedes. Is there anything that they're not good at?
So this book fights it off and dies. Sorry, dude.
No, that's right. No, that's exactly what happened. I was watching the Ennies and I got smoked. So not only by Morkborg, but speaking of the Swedes being all together, there's also I forgot the name of the book that mine was up against, but it was a group of Italians that did it. And the way that the Ennies work is there's a panel of judges. You submit your work for review by the judges, and then they pick the top 5. And then after the top 5, then it's by a popularity vote. So you try to be like, hey, vote for my book, do this, do that. And so Morkborg had a ton of support. But then, being from an Italian family myself, and a group of Italians wrote a book, I was like, there's no way in hell you're beating them. They've got so many friends and family. Hey, I want you to get online. I want you to vote for my book. What do you mean you don't play the game? I don't care if you play the game or not. I want you to get on there. I want you to vote for my book because I want it to win. You understand what I'm saying?
Vote for your cousin. What's wrong with you?
So yeah,
Was it
so I
Broken
lost out.
Tail?
So yeah, but congrats to both of those. I mean, they're both awesome. As you can see, Morkborg is just fantastic.
Was the book Broken Tales?
I don't remember what it was.
No, it's like a medieval, it's like a real Italy during the Middle Ages thing. I think that's the one. Yeah, I think.
Okay,
that's the one.
similar Aqualare with the Spanish.
Yeah.
Somebody sent a copy of that, and I said I don't speak Spanish, but you're Texas. I still don't speak Spanish. I speak Welch.
I may not know what I'm talking about in this particular case.
I don't know. I was given a copy of Broken Tales to review, and it's everybody's in Italian, and everybody's Italian in it.
I would just like to point out that obviously there's been 6 of us here goofing off trying to build characters. A couple of us don't really know what we're doing. I know it's definitely me, but I'm going to say it now. We've had more people in the live stream watching us doing BECMI character building. BECMI character. We weren't even playing a game. We were just building a character.
Yeah.
There's 22 of you watching? What?
There was 28 before. There was 28 people.
What?
That's insane.
Yeah, it's been great. Chat's been amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah.
So
More fun than a 10-foot pole.
Yeah, I got a 10-foot pole. I have a lot of stuff. I bought a lot of stuff. This might encumber me. Actually, I have to check in with you, but I have the silver dagger as well. I got some silver arrows. I've got regular arrows. I got a short bow, special cool lantern with extra oil flask because, I go in style. I've got quart of wine that I always carry with me, and Chaswick caviar, low leaf. He doesn't do anything without style.
So remember, if something happens to caviar, loot his body.
Loot his body.
So
loot his body.
So let's just real quick, June 8th. In 2 weeks, we're going to play a 2-hour one-shot. I'm going to do a real quick introduction to combat. We're going to roll right into it. And the way that I envision this happening, and it probably won't go this way because that's the way I'm envisioning it happening, is we're just going to see how far into the Castle of Mistamir that we can make it. And if your character dies, I want each of you to make at least 1, if not 2 backup characters. For your backup character, number 1, I want it to be 2nd level, and your 3rd backup character, make it a 3rd level character. If you need help or if you need rules and stuff, just reach out to me or Mr. Welch in the Dungeon Master Roundtable Discord, and we'll help you. Sorry, Mr. Welch, I volunteered you. Or AJ's got enough knowledge on this too. Reach out to AJ. But one of us will help you.
ChatGPT to make it for you.
Yeah, ChatGPT. So we're going to start the game with a 1st level character. If your character dies, what I was going to do tonight is we were going to do a classic Rats in the Cellar, but we never got to that, so that's okay. But each of you have acquired 2 shadows. So when you are walking around, you have two shadows that are following you around. If your character dies, I'm not saying that they would, because I'm a gracious DM, I would never do that on purpose. If your character dies, one of your shadows comes out and they're there, and that's when your backup character comes in.
You just beam them in like Star Trek.
Yeah, well,
just,
I was
because
thinking
we don't
that
have
too.
enough time to role play in 2 hours. We ain't gonna,
No. I remember when our characters died when we were playing 3.5. The DM would make up all these convoluted and involved reasons why the character was no longer there and the character was coming in. In the end, we just had a portal opens above, plop, new person. How's it going? I just showed up in a tavern and here I am now. Well, the only way you're getting out of here is if you come with us. And if you don't, you die. What do you want to do?
Mhm.
So it was easy.
Yeah, we just had a cage that had somebody captured in there that we rescued. And their equipment happened to be right there.
Secret door opens up. 2 Pinkerton agents drag in somebody with a hood over their head, drags in the character, pulls the hood off, and then leaves.
Oh, have they got like a cufflinks that are made from Wizard of the Coast or anything like that?
Knew
The
that's
wizards in every guy.
So
it reminds me of what's the game? Paranoia. Where
Yes.
literally you just die all the time, and you have like 8 clones that just
6 clones. I ran Call of Cthulhu, which they went through 484 characters. They lost 70 characters on the opening in the introduction where they were supposed to turn off a record player that was skipping on the word Haster.
Oh,
They couldn't figure out how to
do it.
So we should look. I feel like the surname for my character has to be Nutella Crash Test Dummy. So I'm playing a crash test dummy, basically.
Let's make it easy on me, if you don't mind. Let's name the characters the same, and maybe this is just like a multiverse version of them. If your character so happens to die, and we bring in level 2 of salad, or level 2 of relish, or 2 some biscuit or caviar Nutella, we'll bring in level 2. It can be a human, it can be a halfling. I don't care, but just keep the names the same.
So you're telling us if we die, we level up.
Yes, but the game that I want to play is I want to see how long you can go on your earlier level characters.
At level 1.
At level 1.
Works
That's
for me.
Full name is Salad Rotisserie.
Yeah. So that's what I would like to see. So make it a challenge amongst yourselves to make your characters last as long as possible. But since it's a one shot and it's only gonna be 2 hours, I don't want anybody's character to die and then have to sit there. So they're gonna, after that combat's over, you come back in, and then and if you all die in one, then we'll just restart with your second level character.
Party wipe.
Yep. So, but I am going to run everything. I don't normally do this as a DM, but I'm going to do my best to run everything by the book, just to give you the full sensation of BECMI, just to let you know rules as written, how it feels. So,
and just remember, everybody, casting mage armor does not involve throwing the elf in front of you.
That's right.
But it's always good to have somebody else in front rather than yourself.
Yeah, the halfling. Small,
that's
round,
Caviar's
absorbent.
motto. No, that's Caviar's motto. Have somebody in front.
I got the rear.
I'm not even gonna make a new character, Wally. I'm fairly certain he's gonna survive the whole way.
Gosh damn, you're gonna make me make one for you. But that would be amazing. It's like the only one that survived the level 1 was the halfling with one.
The halfling with 1 hit point.
Yeah, it could happen.
I just wrote "ha ha" in my hit point section.
There you go. I can't believe you rolled a 1. I'm so sorry. Yeah. Oh, yeah. If we were playing a campaign, you would have re-rolled that, but we're gonna do it as
this.
written. Okay.
I like this. I like the challenge.
Roll the dice. You
I
take
like
your
the
check.
pain.
Yeah.
I have a question. I have a question,
Yeah.
Bob. You run a lot of live stream stuff. If you figure out this, are you going to shift your people over to BECMI D&D and play people on the Borderlands?
Well,
Others are better.
who knows?
If you want to play a BECMI game, and you seriously want to run first a introductory, go get King's Festival. That is one of the best, if not the best, introductory adventure ever made, because it teaches not only the players how to play, it teaches the DM how to play. and
Cool.
that would be far more informative than throwing them into fantasy Vietnam at first level.
And if you want really good adventures, handcrafted to bespoke for you, then go to my channel and look at my Derailed Fantasy.
Yes. I have not watched any of those yet, but I have heard the reviews are magnificent so far.
What? That's okay. Gives you something to do this afternoon.
There you go.
It's not afternoon for him; it's for us. It's night over there.
Oh yeah.
Well, it gives you a nice, soothing voice to go to sleep to.
Yeah. I laugh because I've heard that before. A lot of people are like, I listen to you when I go to sleep every night.
Oh, it really works. Yeah, it's my core audience. They don't even know it.
Oh, my wife
Put that on playlist, hit play, and then go to sleep.
Wake up in the middle of the night. Harpies are attacking me. Harpies. Oh, sorry. I had a nightmare.
I won't lie. My wife has you on you're on one of her playlists, and she will watch all your videos until she dozes off.
Wow.
And then when she wakes up, she rewinds back to the one she was watching and keeps watching.
Awesome. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. I just want to say a big thank you, Wally, because I do appreciate you walking us through the process of building these characters, because it would never have happened.
Truly, it would
but
not have.
I'm also aware that document you gave us on how to build a character, I have to include page numbers and references for all of the stuff, because there's no way I would be able to cope. I would go insane.
No problem. Use the documents as you see fit. I mean, whatever you got to do.
If you choose to do your encumbrance, turn to page 42.
If you want to know what your armor class is, this is where you have to go. Page.
The whole live stream is Fred going.
Yeah, it's actually a choose your own adventure book.
That's exactly what I've been doing. I'm just doing it on a PDF.
That's how.
If you've rolled a dexterity of 9. Then turn to page 6. You can't.
If you have one hit point, close the book.
By the way, Jasper in the chat, the more talking we do during the stream, the longer my halfling survives. So,
I told you, Bob, you've got a cult following. This is going to be good.
I kind of checked the chat just a little bit now, and you're right. I do see a lot of familiar faces from my channel here, or familiar names.
Nice.
I should say.
Yes.
Oh no, you stubbed your toe.
But before we do cut out of here, I do want to tell chat June 8th, shit's gonna go down. We're gonna jump right into it. I'm going to give a brief introduction to combat. We're going to introduce marching order. I'm going to read it, and we're going to be looking straight in the mouth of Castle Mistamir, and we are going to I don't know what's going to happen, to be honest.
We're going to put on some Dio in the background. We're gonna drink Mountain Dew. We're going to eat cheese snacks.
Oh, come on! You're going to be drinking mead.
Jolt,
you're not going to be drinking.
No.
Okay, all right. I have a question. Are we going to be going theatre of the mind, virtual tabletop, or just you're going to point the camera at your table and use miniatures and dice?
We're coming to your house, Fred. We're coming to your house.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
I would love to use that, Matt, AJ, but putting a camera down and moving miniatures around, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
In order to,
you write one coordinate on one side of the map and then another coordinate on the other side, and then you can tell people, and they can say, "Oh, go to B12."
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the maps. So everybody, where you see, for those of you in the live chat, where you see the spreadsheet with everything right now. I'm going to replace that with the map that I am looking at. That's going to have the numbers on it. And I'm going to invite the 5 of you. If you feel more comfortable just looking at the map, that is fine. If you really want to get that old school feel, I'm going to describe the corridors, and I'm going to the best of my abilities, describe them. Because in BECMI, you would have what's called a mapper, and you would have, if we're sitting around the table, I would describe it. One of you would be drawing the map as we go. Now that's a little bit much to fit in 2 hours, which I totally understand. But again, I'll be saying, okay, you go 20 feet north, and then the corridor turns and goes 30 feet east into a 30-foot by 30-foot room. And that would be up to you as the mapper to interpret that and to draw that out. But again, since it's a 2-hour one-shot, if you want to have the YouTube screen up where you can just see my map, you're more than welcome to do so. Otherwise, you won't be able to see a map, and everything else is going to be theater of the mind.
Well, if it's really old school, then your older sister will be sunbathing outside, and I won't be mapping shit.
Yeah.
I remember mapping in 3.5, and
It's brutal.
it is brutal. You go like, hang on, there's something wrong here. So something didn't quite go right along the way.
Yeah.
I still got graph paper somewhere.
Yeah. So if you want to map and get that experience, you can. Otherwise, pull up our live stream. And it'll be a few probably about 20-30 second delay, but you'll be able to see the map on there. I just think that would be the easiest way to fit everything in 2 hours.
Okay.
I don't want to do it like a Roll20 or anything else.
Yeah, well, also too, the load on your computer will be absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. So
and
maybe one day we can play some Star Frontiers too.
There you go. But yeah, I'm looking at the same thing. Star Frontiers. But yeah, so combat and everything will be theater of the mind. I'll give approximate movements and stuff like that. We'll go over combat and everything. I'll have to refamiliarize myself with it. But if I were to just announce it off real quick, you roll initiative every round. So the monster versus you, there's a chance you can go simultaneously. And then it goes, I think it's missile fire, magic spells, and then melee combat.
Oh, so initiative just the dex adjustment or dex modifier?
No. So what we'll do is we do team initiative. So one of you will roll a 6-sided die against my 6-sided die.
Well, I'm not rolling the dice. Somebody else is rolling it.
But that's after. But that'll be after we decide if one of the two sides were surprised. So I will roll 2 d6s, and I will tell you if you're surprised, if you surprise the monsters, or if you're both surprised.
Okay. All right. I think I got it sorted out.
Cool.
Sure. He says. Oh, good.
Yeah. Jasper says this game is going to be perfectly fine. Thank you, Jasper. I appreciate that.
And Misdemeanor is actually pretty easy to run because the encounters are generally lowered out, so people, will actually want to play.
Yeah,
you're not gonna be like the Caves of Chaos and walk into the evil cult cave on the first try. Like several of my players, let's just go straight to the end. No, don't do that.
I do want to share one more story though before we go. I am on Facebook. I joined the BECMI Facebook group. The BECMI Facebook group, and I put out there a question because I contemplated running the Misdemeanor dungeon, and I asked about how complex it was for first level characters, and I had like 100 responses, and they were everything from everybody's going to be fine to their but the one that mattered the most was Frank Mincer, the one that wrote the encounter, the one whose name is in the book, responded to me in Facebook group and said, yeah, they'll be fine up until that point.
Okay. All right.
And that's why we're going to have a backup 2nd level character and a backup 3rd level character. And that's all I'll say.
Which essentially means we have...
Thanks, Frank.
Which essentially means we have 12 characters because every character is just 4 more characters, just with another number beside
it. Yep. All right. Very good. Anything else? Anything in chat we should address? Anything you guys want to say before we head out?
No. Other than I won't say it. It's on your channel. It's all right if it's outside my channel.
So I mean, just if we can, real quick, just quick first impressions, Fred.
Chaos, really awesome.
Okay.
I feel like we're going to wind up doing more of this.
Awesome chaos. I love that. AJ.
I plead the 5th.
He pleads the 5th. Dennis, first impressions.
I feel like I'm looking at a board with sticky notes and evidence and yarn and tacks everywhere.
I like that. I like that. Bob.
Outstanding, exciting, touching, dramatic, deadly.
Touching you, touching me. Sweet Caroline. Mr. Welch.
Thank you very much. Thank you. That's my office.
All right. I like it. I like it a lot. All right. Let's get out of here, guys. To the chat, thank you very much for being awesome. Steve, thank you for this the super or the memberships. Thank you for the subscriptions. And June 8th at 7 p.m. Chicago time, this shit's gonna go down. So see you then. All right. Good night, everybody. On to the next.